Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable, PRT. I'm your host, Josh Turner, and with me is my co-host,
Mushu, the one and only.
Mushu. Hope everybody enjoyed Texas Werewolves. That was the Tuesday show that we offered up to you guys for your listening enjoyment. I don't like saying pleasure. Pleasure just, it sounds, I don't know.
Sounds weird.
Sounds weird. Plus, it reminds me of like the gum commercials. You remember the gum? Probably y'all know y'all don't.
What, 5
Double mint gum. You remember whatever happened to that? The Wrigley's, the gum. Remember there was like there was juicy fruit, there was spearmint, and there was double mint,
and then Big Red.
Yeah, and each one of them had their own. Back in the '80s, each one of them had their own commercial, which was just completely weird. It's like and they were all. It was juicy fruits, gonna move you. It chews soft, it goes right through you, or some. The taste is gonna move you, or something like that. And then the double mint was double your pleasure, and they showed twins. So I guess Joseph Mengele was the creator or something. I don't know. It was weird. Let's see here. Freaking zombie werewolves, right? Weird. So I predicted this. I said that somebody would send me a story about a zombie werewolf, and what happened?
Of course. We knew what happened.
It happened.
Always happens.
Somebody sent me a zombie werewolf report, and they're like, I live in Missouri, and I've seen this before. Weird thing. Weirder than the other weird one. I had one from Illinois, and one from, what was it, from Springfield, Illinois? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, we got one out of Missouri, right near Branson, because people were heading to Branson. Branson is a mecca for people who want to. It's like what is it, like a country music, but like they have like a theme park there or something. I don't know what it is. People like to go there. It's like amusement park atmosphere for people who like Travis Tritt, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of what I've been told. I don't know much about it. They were trying to sell us on the idea to have the conference there, and I was like, well, I don't know about that. But what we do know is that the conference is going to happen. I'm going to give you some details about that in a minute. Ken Gerhard came through for me. But the weird thing about this report in the Missouri one, which was so crazy, is that this thing was well, I'm going to give you that story. I'm going to tell you that story. But first things first, Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com, Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com. Now, last week we did the giveaway, like we do all the time. We do every week, like we're going to do tonight. And guys, I am slammed trying to do taxes and all this other stuff, and I am just really super busy. Kind of bummed out. I lost one of my big accounts, to some security system that people are going to now that tells you, hey, you've been robbed. And then,
hey, by the way, there's criminals somewhere.
Yeah, that's all you can really do. It just kind of tells you that you've been robbed, and by the time people show up, because this is a police defunded city, you've already been robbed. But guess what? The camera managed to take some pretty snappy photos of the fake paper tags that they're using on their license plates. You probably have the color of the truck that they loaded it into. Good luck with that. So anyway, that is pretty much what's happening. There's a lot of companies saying now they're kind of complaining that this new system is taking, and it's like I give it time. I said give it time, and once a bunch of people have learned how it's something that doesn't really do anything. It's a deterrent, not even really a deterrent. People aren't going to they're still going to rob you. Cameras don't scare people nowadays. They got COVID masks. They wear a hat. COVID mask, they go and they rob you, and you get a little photo to show the police, and the police go, oh, not much I could do. Sorry. Can't even tell what that is. So, yeah, I was a little bit bummed, but it'll be okay. We'll weather the storm. Here's the thing. When it comes to when you win a prize on the show or whatever, you need to, like, really the night of, like when you're watching the show, if you can't do it, I understand that, then the next day, but at the very least, let me know over the weekend that you won, because we we just now today got one of the people to respond. The other two we haven't. Or how many did we win? Did they get 3 or 4? I've only gotten 2, so I need the other ones to come forward and let me know that you won, so I can send out. So we were waiting, and we waited this week to see if anybody else, because I didn't want to have to go to the postal place annex that I go to, and just ship 2 things. So if you won, or if you ever won and you were expecting a prize, then do me the courtesy of please hit me up on Messenger, preferably, if not on email, because my email is just, and let me know that, hey, my eyes are burning in here. Let me know that you won a prize and that you want it. You want what you have coming to you. Now, if you are from the UK, what I can do, I have a deal made up with Paul Sinclair from Truth Proof. Paul Sinclair does the Flixton Werewolf, Beast of Barnstrom Drain, all that. Really good guy. We're hoping to get him to come to the conference. Now, he recently did some work with a friend of mine, and everybody just gushed about how good he is and what he does, whatever. If you haven't heard any of his work, check it out or buy his books. But if you're in the UK, it's a real treat, because I can't get his books autographed over here in the States because it's too darn expensive. But if you're in the UK, you can get something that the people here in the States can't, and that's an autographed book by Paul Sinclair. Now, I forget to tell people that sometimes. But if you leave a comment on the show, like when I drop this show, and I put it on the official link on, can you grab me a water, please, when you come back? When we put it on the Paranormal Roundtable group on Facebook, okay? If you're not a member of that, go join. It's free. Just go join the group. And if you comment on that from this show, the link to this show, you can win an autographed book. Now, if you're from the UK and we pick you, you get one from Paul Sinclair. It's very simple. Or if you win on the wheel of, what is it called? The Broken Dreams? Or what are y'all calling that thing now?
Breaking wheel.
The Breaking Wheel. So if you win on the Breaking Wheel, then you could win a book from Paul Sinclair if you're from the UK. If you're an American, sorry. You're just going to have to go with one of the authors from over here. So it's a real treat to be able to get a book from him that's autographed, because over here we can't get them because it's so darn expensive to ship.
Which book did you get, Sue? Because he said his book wasn't autographed.
That's another thing. Was it a David Weatherly book?
I'm trying to
Probably.
see.
My book wasn't autographed. Yeah, I ate dinner. We ate dinner with David about what now, probably 3 weekends ago, right? We were down in San Antonio with him and Lyle and Ken. If you don't know who that is, Lyle Blackburn and Ken Garrett. And me and Tony went down there with Nellie, and we ate dinner with them. And I told David, I said, I have a whole box of books that I think what those were at the conference. And when we made the exchange, he gave them to me at the conference. I took them back here. Oh, geez Louise.
Bless you.
Firecrackers, man. So he gave me a box of books, and he said, yeah, I think that was a box of books from the conference that he didn't get a chance to autograph, and it was at the end of the conference. And so I just took them and left. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, it was.
They were underneath a box of snacks that Ken had left up here at the studio.
It sounds like one of David's books, Cryptids of North or South Carolina.
Okay, that's probably what it was. Because I remember the conference, I don't know, I think I've told this story, but Ken, if you want to hear a funny story, before I tell you the story about the werewolf, whatever, Kenny, I apologize to Kenny Irish. I wrote the foreword on his book, International Cryptids. Great book, good guy. Kenny Irish is one of the best. I love him. He's a good guy. His table, Ken stuck a box of what can only be described as dollar store subpar snacks.
Poison in a box, really.
On Kenny's table with a mountain of Shasta, and Barton walks by and he's like, "Ooh, what is all?" I said, "Ken, I said, Ken thought it would be a good idea to go to Dollar General and buy snacks. And I was standing there literally with Lyle and Barton, and we're all like, who's going to eat that? Like, nobody's going to eat that. Even me, not going to eat that because it's like, why would you? It's one of those like Tom's snacks stuffs.
Yeah.
So Kenny walks in and he's like, there's this mountain of junk food and sodas on his table. And he's like, is this my table? So he starts to move over to the next table. Well, the next table, I think was Jody's or David's or somebody. And they were like, no, this is my table, And he's like, well, what is this? So I went over there and I just went, when I just wiped it all on the floor. And then I blamed Kenny. I told Ken, I said, dude, look, Kenny he got mad, which Kenny never does, I said, Kenny got PO'd and he said, man, what is this? And he just swiped him onto the ground. And then Barton's like, well, that Shasta belongs in the trash. So Kenny, I'm sorry, I told Ken that, and Ken was like, well, that was rude. And I was like, well, it was rude to stick him on his table. He just picked Kenny's table, to put on there. It was like, anyway. Because you tried to put him on DA's table at first, and I said, when people walk in, DA's table is right there to the right. And I was like, don't stick him on his table. I don't want people, seeing that when they walk in, all that garbage. But anyway, nobody touched it. Nobody ate it or drank any of it. He takes it all. He puts it in a box. We get back to Fort Worth, and then we exchange. I end up going in the van with Ken to keep him away because he was out of it. We got back to the studio, and it sat up in the storage room where we keep our books. I'd say we probably got at any given time 200 or 300 books in there, right? Maybe more. So we went through an entire box of Barton's books, an entire box of Chad Lewis books. And then we get down to David's books, and I think that the top box had the autograph books, and then the one below it was that surplus that we had gotten from him at the conference. Well, in between there was a box of snacks, and it sat there forever. So when we started getting through it, and I said, oh, these are those nasty snacks. Thank you, Fat Squatch, for that donation, by the way. Donations are not expected, but they're greatly appreciated, especially right now, getting ready for this conference. So... we get through those nasty snacks, and I'm like, so let's throw it out, So we threw most of them out, and then underneath there was here's a whole box of David Weatherly's books, so we didn't need to reorder, and so we started giving them away, and then realized they weren't autographed. So we ended up with about 25 unautographed David Weatherly books.
Yeah, at some point I was going through them, and we're doing another giveaway, so I just chose 4 or 5 of them. And I was looking through them. I was like, oh, none of these are autographed. So I brought it up to you, and you were like, we've been giving those out this entire time.
Yeah.
And
I was like kind of taken aback by that. And I like David. He's a great guy. I love spending time with him, talking to him, hanging out with him, and talking shop. But I was like, I really want these autographs. So I need them autographed. Because
remember, we left one in the car, and we were like, oh, no.
We still had, because we opened it up after we got back from San Antonio, and you're like, these didn't get autographed. I'm like, what are you talking about? David signed them right there. Opened, there was one that had fallen out of the box, and it didn't get autographed. And I think Ken was in the back seat, and I said, dude, there's a book. And he's like, oh, no. We got to call him up. Hey, where are you going? We got to sign all these. But David signed them. So if you got an autographed book from David Weatherly or an unautographed book from David Weatherly, then I will personally make sure that you get it. Okay? Good news on my book front. Probably going to have the first one done. Now, it's not going to be edited and ready to rock and roll, but I think by the end of this month, the first one may be done. We still got a few more interviews to do. And then the second one should be done by the end of June. That one's taking a little longer because I'm going a lot. I mean, I'm going deep, And so hopefully by the conference, my books will be published and ready to go, hopefully. Now, here's my dilemma. I need somebody who can do cover art. I wanted to get the guy that David uses, but he said that he's slammed. I mean, he's got like a ton of work already in front of him, and he wouldn't be able to get to it, in the time that I need. So if you're an artist and you think you can write or draw a good graphic design, whatever, you know how to do all that, let me know because I need somebody that can do cover art. Bigfoot and a Dogman. We already got the poster made up for the conference. Now, here's the news for the conference. Now, get this. I just realized how many more people we're going to have this year. What are we looking at, like 6 or 7 new people? The speakers besides last year?
I think so. I mean, we were definitely expecting all the guys from last year. And then we're also...
minus a couple.
Minus a few, but...
No, not a few, a couple.
A couple.
1 or 2.
And then we're also expecting, I think you already have about 5 or 6 signed on already. And are you waiting to hear back from anyone, or?
I mean, I think we're waiting to hear back from 2 people. I think everybody else is already signed on, ready to go. But we're looking at somewhere like 20 speakers. Now, this thing is going to go Friday night, all day Saturday until nighttime Saturday, and then it's going to go half a day on Sunday, which I say half a day. It's going to end about 5 or 6 on Sunday. It's going to be at Pecan Grove Convention Center. I believe that's the name of the place. Ken sent me the information. I think all I got to do is sign the contract. And today I was slammed having to move furniture. So,
Labor Day weekend, am I correct?
Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what we got it here. Can't remember how he corresponded with me on this. Anyways, it should be on there. You know what? Let me just do this. Let me call him up, dude, and I don't even know. Maybe I'll just have to get him to tell you the details, and he'll give you the details.
Hello?
Hey, Ken, it's me, Wolf. I'm over here on the air. So I'm sorry to bother you because I know you're busy organizing your sock drawer and all that. So what I was going to ask you is, could you give me the information for the conference? Because I'm trying to I can't remember exactly what it was exactly. So if you could tell the audience.
Yes. Well, we're finalizing the venue right now. And it is called the Pecan Grove. Let me pull it up, sorry. I think it's Convention Center. Man, hold on, just dropped a sock. Okay, yeah, that was blue. Okay. Pecan Grove Convention Center in White Settlement, Texas. It's about 10 miles south of the Greer Island Nature Center, which is allegedly home to the famous Lake Worth goat man or Lake Worth monster. And yeah, it's about 30 miles from the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, which of course is a major airport and hub. So,
okay,
yeah, Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
We're finalizing that deal right now, and per your request, and I guess by popular demand, we're going to try to do 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So there you go, guys. That's Ken. Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to doing what you got to do.
You got it, brother.
All right.
Okay, you owe me some socks.
All right, later.
And a shout out.
Yeah, well, Shats is the best. We all know that.
Barnes in the chat, he knows it.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
So that was Ken Gerhard, and so, or as some people call him, Ken Gerard. But that's neither here nor there. Ken got it locked down for me. Okay, I got to say, I got some good friends. He came through because I was busy, and I was like, maybe we can get this done. Maybe we can't. I don't know. Get this, though. There's going to be 20-plus speakers. We're not even 100% sure who all. We know that some of the big names that are going to be new this year, Sibylla Irwin, Ron Moorhead, God, I can't remember off the top of my head. There was a few. Steve Stockton's going to be there this year. Then several other people. Michigan, I think Bigfoot Michigan Rob's going to be there. He wasn't there last year, but he's going to be there this year. Good friend of mine. A lot of and some sleepers too. Some people that were just on the panel last year. They're going to actually do a presentation this year. Ann Celine's going to do a presentation this year. Bettina Moss is going to do a presentation this year. And so we're going to have the usual suspects. Of course, Barton will be there. He's probably in the chat somewhere tonight anyway. And so we're all going to be there in attendance. And it's going to be as good as last year, but bigger and better.
Not to mention, we already have guys who aren't speakers who are also going to come, like some other people.
That's right. The guys, I just that releases tonight too. By the way, Expanded Perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, raise your hand if you know who Expanded Perspectives is. Cameron and Kyle. Those guys were one of my inspirations, and it was fun to talk and BS with them. And we were on the phone for like 3 hours. We were just BSing. But we knocked out an episode. Now, I wanted to surprise everybody and let you know that when you're done listening and watching tonight, go check me out. I did a show on Expanded Perspectives with those guys, and they're going to be there at the conference too. Now, they live up there. So, and, of course, there's going to be...
They do a great show. I mean, I used to work listening to their show, so it's going to be pretty cool to finally meet them, in Fort Worth. It's like comes full circle,
Been
from
talking
listening.
to them for a while, finally got it, recorded. But, yeah, so there's Barton. He just said it's going to be great. Yeah, it is. It's going to be great, and we're going to have fun. And this year, I won't forget, like I did last year, I forgot to bring the Texas supplies. This year, I'm going to bring them. Because you're going to be in Texas. Now, chicken fried steak dinner, Friday night, Texas style chicken fried steak. That's what you're going to have. And then Saturday and Sunday will be brisket, barbecue, and whatever, and all the fixings. And you guys come out and and if you're a VIP, you get a free dinner on Friday. You also, as a VIP member, you get a free, I can't remember what all we decided. I think it's a free conference shirt. You get a free conference shirt.
Free poster. A free poster.
Free poster autographed by everybody there.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat that. Because some of the posters I saw, people got really creative with them last year, and they framed them. They took pictures of them. And those posters, do we have one from last year? Go see if we got one over there. I think it's over there, Tony.
Okay.
And we'll show you what it looks like. And then the conference shirt. Tonight, we're doing the giveaway. It's going to be for the conference shirt again tonight. And are we doing hoodie? We're going to do a couple hoodies?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. So most of the giveaways, are going to be 2 or 3 things going into the conference because we got to save our merchandise for the conference, but you can still always win an autographed book by dropping a comment, on the whatever. But we're slowing down on the giveaways because we got to stock up for the conference. But we're still going to do at least 3 every week. At least 3. And I'm putting in orders for hats, shirts, hoodies, you name it. We're getting it going. Last year, we darn near sold out of merchandise, but then at the end there, I gave away a bunch of stuff, but it was all just the odds of different sizes and stuff. So if you get there this year, I'm going to give you some advice, okay? Get to our table and get your size bought because we will run out of sizes. We ran out a couple sizes last year. This is the poster, and I have an autographed version of this one that's framed. It's really, really, really good. It's a really cool poster. Unfortunately, though, I am like down at the bottom down here. Not my idea. I wanted to be right here where this guy is. I don't know. People say it's an ego thing, but anyway, that's not. Anyway, sorry for taking up so much time about the conference. Patreon.com/PRT podcast. That is the coordinates that you can donate. $20 gets you what?
$20 gets you a swag bag.
That's right. We're going to do a $30 tier, which needs to be done like ASAP. I'm trying to get that done. $30 tier gets you a better swag bag. $10 after 3 months, you get a swag bag. So if you can't do but $10, then do $10. If you just want to support the show and you don't give a darn about my crap, $5. Do whatever you can. Anything you can do helps the show. Especially with me, losing accounts, security, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I may end up having to just be out there on the corner, hat in hand.
We might have to do these live at our jobs.
Which is just sitting on the street corner, panhandling. I mean, this guy the other day told me and Tony, right, Tony? He said he makes, what, $100 a day?
It's crazy.
And I was like, I looked at Tony.
I see it, too.
Yeah.
It's wild.
The guy looked like he was wearing nice, he had to dirty up his shirt a little bit, he said, but... he was very honest.
Reminds me of that Dave Chappelle skit where it's just a guy who's panhandling, and then once he's done, someone gives him money. He stands up, takes off his clothes, and hops into his Ferrari and drives off.
It's crazy. These people are making some bank.
Yeah, it's a
What
living.
they're doing, and it's nuts. And so we're sitting there at the street corner. We were on Duval, I believe, right there, and we were like, "What? This guy's making more money than we are." He said sometimes on the weekend, what do you say, $150? I was like, dude, what are we doing? We're in the wrong business. We're over here, running security and doing the show, whatever.
If you think about it, that could pay for a hotel. Pay for a hotel, and
Yeah.
you just have a really good living.
Every night, just go to a hotel afterwards.
Yeah.
Extended stay or something. I don't know. Anyways, and I'm not saying that all homeless people are doing that, but this guy was making some bank. He was like, you give him $50, and he's like, yeah, thanks. But I feel bad for some people, but some people are really taking advantage of stuff. Like during COVID and all this stuff, people have really just gone off the rails, taking advantage of situations, big time.
Yeah, it's tough because there's people who actually do need, and there's people who are just having a tough time, and there's those who are willingly staying like that to take advantage.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. Let me let my guests know that I was running a little bit late tonight because we running a little bit late tonight because I had to literally move a bunch of furniture out of an apartment that had black mold. Yeah, it was bad. And some friends, very close friends of mine, people, and I was like, and I had to, and it was sad. We had to throw away clothing, we had to throw away bedding, and it's not good. So anyways, yeah, apartments not doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's just how it goes. So anyway, let me get you this story real quick, and then I'm going to bring my guest on because she's waiting in the wings. The zombie story we got, the one that we got out of right outside of Corpus and the Valley here in Texas, somebody listened to it and they said, "Oh my gosh, we had an encounter very similar to this right outside of Branson," which, like I said, is like a place where people go. It's like I guess sort of a Nashville West thing. I don't know. That's what I've been told. I don't know much about it. If you know more about it, then tell me about it because I don't really know what it is. But they said they were on their way there and they were headed up, right outside of it. And they see what looks like a guy walking with a stick. And the weird thing was that they thought, oh, it's a blind person wearing a coat. As they pulled up next to the person, they look over and it was a quick encounter. It wasn't like a real long drawn out anything. They look and they see, and this thing turns. And when it does, they said that it was so shocking. The woman that was in the back passenger seat, she got a really good look at it. The person that was in the front was navigating, and they were like, he looked up at the last second. The guy on the driver's side said, "What the heck is that stuff?" Expletive, And the guy was like, "I don't know what the heck that is." And then he said that it turned, and it, there was a debate about whether it was a person wearing like a skin that had the head over the face. The face looked like a coyote. Okay, folks. But the mouth opened and closed. The person in the back seat was fully committed that they were in a Toyota Land Cruiser. She was up high enough. She said, "I looked over and I saw the mouth move. Like it went like and the tongue was right there." She's like, "It was not a mask. It was not a person like wearing a mask or the skin of an animal." And the leg were straight people-like legs, but you could see muscle through the skin. The skin was split open on the bottom. It was really gross, and you could see the skin, the muscle, and the bone on the lower leg and on the arm. And they assumed, which you could be right or wrong about this, that the other side was probably that way too, because from the back, it looked like there was a split in the back that was like muscle like protruding from the back, covered in fur, covered in gray and brown fur, just like a coyote. But the legs were straight human, but it looked like human legs, but they all agreed, but that it was walking on its front pads, And the person sent me this message, says, "I was listening to your show. My aunt and uncle had an encounter very similar to this, his uncle and his uncle's wife. And he said, dude, and my cousin, she was in the back seat on the other side, and she looked over and got a glimpse of it. She had the least good angle, but from what she saw, it gave her nightmares. And then this thing just kind of veered off the road and took off into the, whatever. You're sitting here shaking your head. Now, when you think about it, you get these stories of not deer.
Yeah.
What is a not deer?
As I brought up on Tuesday, I think when we did the stories about not deer, I talked about how, what if there are these, corpses getting possessed by something, and that's why it looks like it's, zombie or whatever, and it's, rotting, and it's all dead, and it moves weird, it acts weird, it doesn't act like a deer. It's because maybe it's not really a deer anymore. Maybe it's something that died, and then something went inside of it, and it's taken over. And maybe it's the same thing for these things. Maybe,
so instead of not deer, we should call it no longer deer.
No longer deer.
Or my preferred is beyond deer.
Yeah.
Late deer.
Late deer.
the late deer. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here together to discuss the life of this no longer deer. Oh, but it's doing good now. It's walking around on two legs. It has been possessed by the devil. No, I'm joking. I make jokes, folks. Don't take it too seriously here. Joe Olin, thank you for that donation. Sugar Britches, who is now one of our moderators, thank you for that donation. You have to do that. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to say that all of these creatures are zombies. I kind of had it out on Facebook. I was in a group, and then somebody kind of heckled me. It's not a bad person. It's a friend. But I'm not going to do him the justice of saying his name. I don't like to say people's names here anyway. I'm not giving you the credit. You want to pick on me? That's fine. Go ahead.
You don't exist anymore.
You think I care? But he goes, "Oh, is this more zombies?" And I said, "Dude, no. And before I took this gentleman to school, because I believe he probably doesn't have above a 4th grade education, I said, "Sir, I'm not saying these are zombies, okay? When somebody gives you a story and they say, hey, this is about a zombie, whatever, that doesn't mean that I'm going it's a zombie, because that person said it was a zombie. I don't know what the heck it is, dude. I leave it up to you, the listener, the audience, to come up with your own conclusion about this. Now, tonight when we get done with this show, we're going to record a show. And we don't even know what we're going to call it yet, but it's about a black-eyed adult. Black-eyed adult because I don't know what the heck to call it. So we're going to call it black-eyed woman or whatever, lady, ma'am, sir, baby child. We don't know what the heck it's going to be called. But I'm sure Anthony will think of something for a name. He's the guy that comes up with the names. We just give our input, and he completely ignores it and goes with some bullcrap. Now, that being said, it's going to be a good show, because it is a very unique show, and it could go a way to explaining some of what, and we mentioned earlier, David, because Dave Weatherly was the one that did the Black Eyed Kids, is the first one to write the stories, or the story about them from Abilene, Texas. But it's a phenomenon that's been going on for a long time. What it is, we don't know. But this guy that me and Tony and Anthony met, we met his friend at the gym. He's from the Philippines, right? He introduced us to this guy. Now, at the time at the gym, I didn't really have time to sit there and go, hey, let's talk about your story, because I was in the middle of supersets, and you don't get these guns by stopping and talking about the paranormal. All right, that looked so goofy. Sorry, Mr. T, shut up, fool.
I think I'm going to name it black-eyed carbon-based life form. Or black-eyed multicellular,
because that's politically
object.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, did you just assume it's cellular life
Excuse
form?
me. Also, we're not going to talk about what kind of beer it drinks either. Absolutely not. We can't assume that it's a carbon-based life form, because it could be a silicon-based life form.
Yeah, Anthony.
Okay,
Would
black-eyed
it be?
energy-based life form.
Oh my gosh,
That covers
are you serious?
Assuming that it uses energy?
spiritual. Yes.
So what we're saying, though, is that we're going to talk about that. And
Your black-eyed dims. Oh my God.
James Lewis got it on James Black-Eyed Pea. It's one of the Black-Eyed Peas. Look, here we got weird stories, weird stuff going on in this world. And people still to this day, they're like, I didn't see it. I don't, Got a story the other day. I was talking to Tony about this one. Vampire-looking creature, right? 6 people in a vehicle. And one guy with the best view is like, I didn't see nothing. I look like a bird. A bird. A sand crane. Is that even a thing? What is a sand crane? He said, that could have been a crane. He's in the background talking. That could have been a crane. That's just a bunch of bull crap. Everybody's just seeing stuff. What? Why is there always one person? What about the guy who said he saw the black shadow crawling on the wall in the bathroom of the investigation we did right outside of Taylor, Anthony? And you remember this guy? And he said, all I saw was a shadow crawling around.
Yes.
Nothing there.
That's all he saw.
And my brother's like, oh, that's it? You saw a shadow crawling. I don't know what these other people are seeing. I just saw a shadow crawling around.
Yeah.
You saw a shadow moving independently, crawling around, sir.
That's what I say. It's stupid.
I don't know, officer. All I saw was a murder. I can't help you.
Don't know. I don't get into calibers and all that. I know it was bullets and death.
His face? Yeah, of course I saw his face, but I don't know how that could assist you in any way.
He was a human carbon-based life form. But the point is, folks, you see these weird things. These people see these weird things, and there's always one that's got to be the detractor. Like Jesus could come back and be like, "I am here." I'm like, and they're like, "That's a holographic projection." I don't believe that. And that's it. They're not gonna. It doesn't matter. So stop wasting your time trying to proselytize these people. And if I want to call it zombie, whatever, I can call it whatever. A guy said something about, well, I'm eating a tuna fish salad, my sandwich. I hope this isn't a zombie tuna. I was like, does it taste good? Is it going to make you sick? No, then shut up and enjoy it.
Did it bite you back? I mean,
I saw this meme where it has how Shao Kahn has the mask with the skull, and he's kind of sitting in the passenger of a car. There's a guy wearing the mask, and he's looking, and it says Louisianans looking at the skinwalker in their front yard, wondering if it tastes good over a bed of rice.
Well, someone asked what not deer venison tastes like, so.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know until we try it, right? And so it could be, because I've seen horrible pictures of this virus, what it does to these animals. I'm not saying that that's what this is. People say, oh, it's a Dogman that has an illness or whatever. I don't know what the heck it is. Sandhill crane. There you go, Barton. Thank you. And Diablo's actually in the chat. Diablo, I know you remember that investigation, and the guy's like, I just saw a shadow moving around, and we're just like, and that didn't set off any alarms or red flags at all? No, I think these people are just seeing stuff. You saw something too.
You know what's hilarious to me about that? Because it's like, one, if you just saw a shadow crawling around, that would be weird. But two, if I just saw a shadow crawling around, I'd be, what is casting a shadow and what's crawling around like that to make that shadow? Like, there's something weird going on no matter what. I don't understand.
You got a point.
I don't know. But it was nothing, most likely, if I had to guess.
Move that photo over because we don't want to advertise them. They're not Shasta.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Barton might see that and get thirsty.
Oh, Barton was getting excited.
Yeah.
Barton's like, hey. So we've committed, though, this year at the conference to have no Shasta or Coca-Cola in the building. We're going with a neutral drink, and that will be announced later on. Mm-hmm. Now, people are already messaging me on my phone here, friends, and they're like, hey, how much are tickets? Before you flip out, and remember, this is a 3-day event. It's going to cost a lot of money. But VIP last year was $100. This year it's $125, but you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. Okay? 3-day event. The tickets for the regular tickets are going for $65 each. Okay? You're talking about 20 speakers. Okay? That is a deal. That is a steal. That is a deal. Okay? 125 VIP. Those will go on sale Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Okay, Eventbrite will have them up, boom. And if you go, you go. If you don't, you don't. I understand. People kept apologizing last year. I missed it. I couldn't go. People come out the gate real hot and ready to go, and then they just kind of, the bull bucks them off. It's unfortunate. I was supposed to go to a bull riding event tomorrow, and I ain't going to be able to make it. Got so much going on. I gotta pay taxes and stuff. But anyway, bottom line, it's going to be a heck of an event. Hit me up. Let me know what you think of these zombie werewolf thingies. Now, here's another one we haven't talked about, and we're going to talk about this too, is zombie Bigfoot, because we had a few people have given us stories about that. So we actually, as a team, decided which one we were going to talk about first, but because everybody's so, Dogman, and my name is Wolf, and everybody's into the Dogman thing, I said, okay, we'll go with the Dogman, but we have Bigfoot stories like that too. But that's going to be an entire episode. Hopefully, we're going to do an entire episode. The problem I have, hi, Susie Jago. I loved your message you sent me. That was awesome. That was incredible and heartfelt, and I really appreciate that. And I will be getting your stuff out to you ASAP. Thank you so much for that. It was a very touching message you sent me today. It made my day. I was having a bad day, and that made my day. So hi to Susie Jago. She says Dr. Pepper's national drink of Texas. Yes, ma'am, it is. Mm-hmm. These zombie things, whatever, it stands to reason that if people are seeing deer walk around on their hind legs looking like zombies, they're going to see other creatures. Don't know what it is. But anyway, we could debate about that all day, and we can talk about Dogman and ghosts and
it's so weird too
all day. But right now, we got to get the guests on here
because it's not like you're seeing like zombie deer, or then you're like seeing zombie fish. It's so weird to see like a jump up to like zombie Dogman real quick, or do you get other stories like that of other zombified animals?
Not really, because it's not really paranormal.
Yeah. I don't know how to.
Oh, you mean like actual, like them calling them zombies?
Well, no, I mean like
as much as I do. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you think they are? Have you heard of a zombie skunk?
No.
Well, okay. First of all, yeah, people have told me stories about seeing animals that looked like they were
weird, doing weird
they were
stuff.
Dead and moving around. But does that make for good show?
Not really.
So, folks, so I was driving around and I saw a squirrel run up the tree. Sucker had no tail. One of his legs was gone, and its face was halfway eaten off.
Well, I mean,
himself corn pop. It's a bad dude.
Well, also, I mean, it could just be like
some acorn pop.
We don't know how much damage these creatures could really take, and like the knot deer and these things could be two entirely different things. What if it's like a normal Dogman who's
That's a good point. What if? And folks, before I get the guest on, she's probably over there like going, "Shut the heck up,"
biting her tongue.
Shut the front door. But the other thing, what if these creatures, like, what if they really are dead, and you can't kill them?
Yeah.
Now, Tony, and Anthony, all of us here at Paranormal Roundtable, including my wife and Scorpion D, everybody who works together on the show, we're all a team. Imagine some of these stories we get about these creatures getting shot point blank and nothing but puff, dust, and stuff comes off of them. What if they are these creatures and then they begin to rot or something, or like Linda used to say, Linda Godfrey, the late Linda Godfrey, she used to talk about, these creatures become more physical as they're on our plane of existence. What if they eventually begin to rot and fall apart? What if that's their natural state as they decay? I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, also, what if, like I said, we've already experienced like instances where they already are starting to decay. Like I remember the story you told about Stripes, about how he was starting to get worse and worse looking. So like that could.
Oh, you mean when Abel was saying that he was starting to be
losing fur and old, and he started getting like real.
Well,
bad.
because I do believe that they're a physical creature, but they can do things that we can't. Because you remember when he died, he was a spirit. Well, according to what they told us, he was like when Stripes. I don't know if you know about the Hernandez Ranch, but that's a story that was told to all of us. Actually, mostly me, but then y'all in pieces, But when they told us about, what their uncle had said, because after he had passed away, Stripes, what I was told was that he would see this wispy image of what looked like him, so he knew he was dead. And, they lived in a kind of a peace with them. And then there was this upheaval afterwards. I don't know their hierarchy or what goes on with these creatures. And if they are wild form of werewolf or whatever they are, all I know is they disturbed something that was underground. Now, there you go again. There's a giant hole there. and then these creatures come up out of the ground. And
Coincidence? I think not.
all wackiness ensues. You know, I don't know. Anyways, let's get the guests on here and let's get started in overbuilt motor, automotive, brains. All right, let me get here. I'm sorry, folks. Here at Paranormal Roundtable, we just try to have fun.
It's a pretty righteous time.
Pretty righteous time. PRT. Everybody's just. Let's call our guest.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Jenna.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous. Excuse my stutter. I actually burnt the roof of my mouth today.
Oh my
Pizza.
gosh.
So you may hear me stutter a bit.
Was it hot pizza or something like that?
It was right out of the microwave. It was actually microwavable pizza from Schwann's. It was actually not too bad, but man, ouch.
Was it a zombie
So how are
pizza?
you doing?
Huh? I said, was it a zombie pizza?
You know, ask me later.
So Ash in the chat says, "Will you do a Linda Godfrey tribute?" Yes, Ash, we already did that right after she passed away, and I had several of our mutual friends come on and say a few words about her. So if you go back into the lives shortly after she passed away, and I think the title of it, isn't it, Linda Godfrey tribute? I believe it's on there.
I think so.
Yeah, but anyways, Corley, thank you for that donation. He says we need more Hernandez Ranch, please. Actually, I'm working on the guys that live adjacent to them, Shane. So we're talking to him about coming on and maybe coming to the studio and talking. We hope. But anyways, Jenna, we're going to get to you. Tell us who you are and what you do and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Jenna Grover. My real name is Jennifer Grover, but I do go by Jenna Grover. It's just personal for me. Friends and family call me that, so I decided to go by Jenna. I am part of the She Squatchers team, and we look for Bigfoot, and we're the first all-female Bigfoot team in the Midwest. So we really got going here in 2016, and we have not let up since.
Yeah, and Jenna, one of the things that me and you had talked about is that you are a team of 3 different people, right?
Yes, 3.
Uh-huh. And the others being, what are their names?
Tammy Trickle and Jennifer Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Jen actually created the team. She came up with the idea after talking to Lauren Coleman at it was actually a Paracon, and she had talked to him, and he had made her so excited about looking for Bigfoot. Let me tell you, she really did not know that much more. She didn't know much about Bigfoot at the time, and none of us really did. But he got her so excited that she got excited, and she said, "I'm creating a team." So she did.
Yeah.
It started out much bigger before. It had many more people on it, but we just went down to just the 2 of us for a while, and then bada bang, Tammy joined in, and now we've got the perfect trifecta.
Yeah, I like Lauren. He's a good guy. I've had conversations with him. Yeah.
He is awesome.
I'm honored that my action figure is right next to Barton's. I think because Kenny Irish, speaking of Kenny, we were talking about him earlier, he sent me a picture, and I think mine is right above Kenny's, right next to Barton's in his museum.
Nice.
So, yeah. But Lauren's a good guy. I like Lauren a lot, man. He's getting older, but he's still sharp when you talk to him. He hadn't missed a beat. A smart guy, very intelligent guy. One of the grandfathers, I say, of the cryptid community. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's cool that he got you guys started. Jen's been friend with me for a long time now, and she's gonna be coming on the show, but later in the month. But you had an experience that me and you talked at length, and I remember that because I was trying to get my hair cut. I was getting my hair cut that day, and
not just one.
Yeah, and we were trying to get and the guys were getting their haircuts too, and so. You were trying to tell me, and I said, you know what? We're going to have to talk about all this when you come on the shows. You had a lot of information. So do you want to get started? Tell me what you got.
Boy, well, where do you want me to begin? I mean, ever since I was little, I had very strange things happen to me. When I was younger, I was automatically drawn to more supernatural things. I was always wanting to speak and communicate with spirit. I would have a lot of dreams, and those dreams were of me actually traveling with someone. And that's how it all kind of started when I was younger. This boy would come to me in my dreams, and he would bring me into this room. He would come all the time, it was just like we were friends. He would bring me into this room, and it was full of, and it was just a tiny little room, but it was full of CVC pipe looking pipes. And every time he'd look at me and he'd point to this one particular pipe and he'd say, okay, come on, let's go. And I'd look at him and I'd say, but I can't fit. And then he'd say, yes, you can. And I'd remember, oh my gosh, I've done this so many times. Of course I can. And then I felt I would feel myself slowly flow through. So I think I was doing a lot of astral traveling when I was younger, and I didn't even know it. One thing that I noticed did happen when I started getting older. I always felt like there was kind of like and I know this sounds silly, but I felt like there was a fight between evil and good. It was just this thought in my head, and I was really attracted to making sure I didn't go down the wrong side, the bad end. And one night in my room, all of a sudden I sat there and a cross, it was like the most beautiful white blue cross just appeared on my wall. And at that time I was looking for ghosts, and I was wanting to communicate. And so when I saw that cross, I was so afraid it was going to turn upside down. I ran away from it. To this day, I kick myself because it was the most beautiful thing in the whole world. It was just gorgeous. And I ran from it. I kicked myself, but it happened. And, things just started happening then. I was reading cards for a long time when I was younger, into my teens, and something had happened that I really didn't feel comfortable with. I kind of felt like I had caused something that maybe it was my fault by giving a reading, but it wasn't actually my fault. It was my job to give them kind of a warning, just to let them know that if this does come into your life, you may not want to go that way. So I finally understand that, cards and readings are more about guidance, and we are not here to tell people what to do and what challenges that they need to take and what answers they should give. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, gosh, ask me anything else. I'm all over the board.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I thought was very interesting about our conversation, you had sort of a Bigfoot encounter, but it was weird. It wasn't like, it was very, I guess, unconventional. It wasn't like a normal, like, well, I saw a Bigfoot on the side of the road standing there, blah, blah, blah.
Are you talking about the circumstance where I haven't talked to anybody on the radio yet about? You really want me to do this?
Yeah, I want you to. I want you to tell it.
Okay. It's kind of choppy. I've never told it to anyone before, and it's something that I'm still dealing with and trying to understand myself. But at an event that we were at in Washington, I was sitting down with a friend of mine and his friend, and we were just having a great discussion. And as I sat back, I was just the feeling of love, you have for people. Well, I was very into a very Zen moment where my spirituality, everything was very open. And all of a sudden, I see a Bigfoot coming out of his head, and it sounds incredible. I know it sounds like it's unbelievable. This is what I saw. His face, and I'll tell you, it was Tom Cantrell, who is an absolutely wonderful man. He's written about 9 books, but he was sitting there talking, and as he was talking, all of a sudden I saw this face emerge, and it started with a forehead, and it started coming out, and I could see where the hairline came, and it was very pronounced, the hairline, and the eyes, and the bone, and it started coming out, and I got so scared that I literally turned to the left, like to hide my eyes, because that's how scared I was. And I thought, oh, what are you doing? You're sitting at a table. Okay. And so I quick looked again and it was still there. And I thought, and I looked away again. And I thought, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. So for the third time I look and it's still there. And I was so scared. It just started dissipating a little bit and just started moving back. And, you know, to this day, I've got goosebumps. I mean, right now, as I'm talking about it, because it's something that is so hard for me to deal with. I had more of an issue trying to understand how he came through interdimensional travel than what I saw. Does that make sense? Like I was okay seeing the face. I was okay because I know what it's like to see spirits and to see different elementals and things like that. But I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
This thing that you saw now, didn't you say prior to that he said, look, I can summon Bigfoot? Didn't he tell you that?
Well, no, he didn't say he can summon it. Bigfoot, he said Bigfoot is coming through him and he is helping him write books and living, and he's just, he's giving him life information, and slowly but surely, and he's just got so much wonderful information. So yes, he told me that Bigfoot comes through him. I met him at an event and I just thought, wow, this guy's really cool, but you know, I really didn't think much of it because I didn't believe in it. You know, I've never seen a Bigfoot come through anyone. So of course I'm not going to believe in it, but I liked him. He's wonderful, you know? And so I was just like, okay, whatever. And I like you and, you know, blah, blah. So when he was talking and all of a sudden I see that, I'm thinking, there's so much more. There's so much more. There's so much more to see out there. If I'm seeing that right at that point, I mean, I can't wait to see more.
So do you believe that this creature that appeared out of this guy, do you think that was a Bigfoot, like an interdimensional Bigfoot?
100%. 100%. And I will tell you why. Because when I saw, okay, he has a picture. Usually when he's at events, he's got a picture up and he's got a full picture that someone had done of his friend who is called Red Stripe. Red Stripe is the Bigfoot that comes through him, comes to see him, things like that. They meet in the woods. And so I had seen a picture. And again, like I said, I was just like, okay, whatever. But when I saw the actual being come through, when I saw Redfoot, who I believe to be Red Stripe, not Redfoot, Bigfoot, Red Stripe, it was too solid. It wasn't spirit. It wasn't, Jen asked me, she said, Jenna, are you sure it wasn't maybe astral projection? And I said, no, this was solid. It came right through him.
I don't know if you know, do you know Anne Celine? She's in the community too. She writes and things, and she's got a Caravan of Lore show. She's a good friend of mine and Nellie's, but she was on my show and she talked about a spiritual Bigfoot encounter that she had. We've gotten lots of them. I mean, a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, probably, you know, and I've had my colleagues say, well, because your show's called Paranormal Roundtable, and people have this conception, I guess misconception, but it's that they believe that paranormal means ghosts.
Yeah.
Which to me, when we built this show and we came up with the name, we came up with it as a group, you know. But it wasn't even my original name. I wanted to call it like Haunted Planet or something.
Yeah.
And so everybody was like, oh, that's more like ghosts. And we're doing a lot of cryptid stuff too, so we can't call it that. And so then I was like, well, how about my alien abduction experience, only alien abduction? Everybody's like, oh, okay, that won't work. I'm kidding. I'm joking. That was not on the table. I'm joking. But no, I said, okay, well, we're gonna do alien abduction, ghosts, Bigfoot, whatever comes down the pipe, right? And I said paranormal show about something. How about Paranormal Planet? Well, then everybody said, stop using the word planet. For some reason, everybody was anti-planet but me. So I said, okay. And then I don't even remember who came up with Paranormal Roundtable. I know it was, I think Nellie and Tony. I think y'all two were, or was it Anthony?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
between
sure
the two of them.
it was between the two of
Two
us.
of y'all, because me and Armando were there, and Armando really didn't put any input into the name.
Yeah, he didn't really care about the name, but I think
didn't
me and
care.
Nelly were bouncing some off, and I kept telling her, I was like, "Oh no, that's dumb. That's
then
also not that smart."
And yeah, and then it came out roundtable.
And she
Paranormal
said something round table, and I was like,
You're like,
"Actually, you know what?
paranormal
That might
round
work."
Yeah,
And I
so-
was like, "Pull up the round table." Yeah.
Yeah, so we thought but then after we became Paranormal Roundtable and we were talking about cryptids and alien abduction and other things, people were like, "I thought you guys were about ghosts," and I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
why? Because to me, anything that's paranormal, it's not completely normal.
Yeah, it's out of the normal.
It's out of the realm of normality, so it's paranormal, So I thought
Definitely.
sort of a 40-in, because I know that Paranormality magazine, they have this awards thing that they do, and I still feel like I got rooked, but that's okay. I'm a very petty and resentful man.
Oh, I knew I liked you.
But they
I'm
said
kidding.
that they were that I was in the running for podcast of the year for 40-in my category. Now, which is really
nice.
weird. I came in second place out of like 100 shows, but then I didn't win my category, which I thought, I don't know. So anyway, but I guess because this other guy won, and I can't even remember who it was, but it wasn't like a big deal to me. I just remember like Lyle was me and him were talking about it because he got nominated for his category. And I looked at that and I saw 40-in on there and I said, oh, that makes sense. That's what we are. We're 40-in, And so if anybody doesn't know what that is, look it up. It's basically you're like a Fate magazine type thing. You cover everything, And so that's what we do. And it's funny because like the show with me on there releases tonight on Expanded Perspectives. And we used to listen to those guys all the time. And I thought we want to do a show, but I don't want to copy them because I don't want to copy anybody. But I wanted to do something like they did where we just have fun, you joke or whatever, but you also get down to business and you talk about the stories that people give you, or people come on and tell their stories like you just did. And then, that is what the whole, and so we were like, we wanted to make it like that, but because we called it paranormal, everybody just assumes it's like, oh, you're going to be talking about ghosts. And some people get like aggravated when they're like, all you talk about is werewolves and aliens and stuff. You're not talking about ghosts. I'm like, but I talk about ghosts all the time, but I guess they want ghosts 24/7 and they don't really like getting, they don't want to hear all this other stuff. But then some people know me in my main wheelhouse as Dogman. And if I talk about anything other than Dogman, they're like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, so it's funny. We started doing the paranormal. We chose paranormal specifically because we were like, oh, we don't want to be boxed into one specific thing. Like, we're going to cover everything. And, we want every topic to come up to the round table so that we can discuss it all. And then we started doing our show, and people started boxing us for us because of our names. And we're like, oh, that's exactly the opposite of what we wanted.
Supernatural roundtables, what we should have called it. What you had,
And
though,
welcome to life.
We should just call it table.
we should just call it the table. And there's carbon-based
table.
life forms
Table
at the
talk.
table talking. Yeah. So what you had, though, what happened to you?
Yeah.
There's going to be people, of course, they're going to be like, "Oh, this is crazy,"
Yeah.
And
I still think it's crazy.
But that's the thing, I've had so many weird, crazy experiences, and I've discussed them on the show, and all but a few of them, I've had people with me who can literally verify that these things did happen. Now, every time something weird happens to somebody, they're always like, they're going to poo-poo it and be like, "Oh, well, this lady's crazy. She's all Bigfoot come out of somebody's head." But the thing is, that's not the first time I've heard that. Now, having somebody that's going to come out and be willing to say that on the show, that's another story. So people will give you a story,
You kind of pulled it out of me, Josh. I hadn't even told anyone yet. I hadn't told anyone on the radio yet. I hadn't done any shows on it. So you got it kind of fresh and new. But no, you were talking about paranormal, and I was going to mention, you know how you said you had all these things paranormal about going on around you? When you guys were talking about the show and how you saying, the word paranormal and how awesome and vague you assumed it would be, I swear, once you start having paranormal activity around you, whether it's spirit, whether it is, Bigfoot or any other kind of cryptid or anything, it just starts happening more and more often. And you're actually able to see more because you're more open to it. Is that Do you agree with me there?
Yeah, and I think that once you've had that first encounter, a lot of people describe like you did, something will happen when they're children, and they'll go back to that. I talked to a guy recently. He lives up in Minnesota, and he was saying, well, he's from Minnesota, doesn't live there, but he was saying that his first encounter in St. Paul, Minnesota, and he was a kid, very similar. And this is weird. I just talked to him like on Monday. But he was saying that, like, and he gave me a couple stories that, like, he never thought about it until he lived in an apartment that he was 100% convinced in Minneapolis that it was haunted. And he had weird stuff happen. And then the people that had lived there before, it was a guy and his girlfriend. The girlfriend had died suddenly. She was asthmatic. And she had passed away. So he started off weird dreams, stuff like that.
Oh.
And for 20 years of his life, he had, and it went back. He goes, dude, I remember when I was 13 having this weird out-of-body experience and meeting this person. Now, get this. This is really freaky. There's a lot more to this story, but I'll tell you this one. He goes, I played with this girl, and he says, are in the dream state that he was in, because he didn't remember all this. It came back to him as he was living in that apartment when he was 33. He said, who are you? And she says, I'm a friend. She's like, I live 2 towns over. She's like, but I'm still alive. And he's like, oh, like me. And she's like, yeah.
Oh,
she's like, I'm going back to
interesting.
my body, but you'll meet me again one day when I'm dead. So it was so weird. I mean, it was one of the weirdest stories, but that's not even. And Tony, you and me have heard so many weird stories. Like every time we go somewhere and then they see the logos or something, like the lady at the HEB, she just starts telling us like her paranormal story, and we're like, wow. It's really crazy. Like we have become like magnets for that stuff. And now people will give me their story. And a lot of times they'll tell me, they'll be like, you're the only one that would take me seriously. We've heard that. And that would tell my story, because a lot of other people, they won't do it. This one girl, she got her story. She was criticized very heavily in one of the paranormal groups I'm in, and it was a ghost group, and they were like, oh, yeah, right, bull crap. Because it wasn't a conventional story like yours, isn't like a normal Bigfoot story, so people just throw it out,
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happens. They just dismiss it.
I would question it. It's easily dismissible unless you're in the situation. I honestly, and let me tell you this, like I said, I accepted seeing Bigfoot coming through more than I did the way that it happened. The interdimensional travel part is the part that made 3 weeks it took me to accept that. I could not stop thinking about it. It was just in my mind thinking, okay, I mean, I really thought it was possible. You think that science with everything going on today, it's possible, but to see it, completely different.
Yeah, it is. So when this happened to you, how long ago was this? When?
This was in the past year and a half. We were in Washington.
Wow. At a conference?
Or was it? Yeah, we were at a conference. And it still stuns me. Like I said, it's really fresh to me, and it's hard to explain, because had you been there, Tom's friend was sitting right next to us, and he was watching me watch Tom, and Tom looking back at me, and he had told someone else, he said, I saw him changing. This is me hearing someone else speaking with him. He told someone else that he saw Tom's face changing. He knew it was changing, and when he looked at me, he could tell, I could see whatever was changing in his face. And when all was done and I finally accepted what I saw, he turned to me and he said, what kind of powers do you have, girl? And I said, anything they give me. And it's shocking how much we can see when we open our eyes. I can't wait to hear more of your stories.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next book. And I told my wife the other day, we were talking about it, and she's like, are we going to do this ghost book thing? And I said, yeah, because she had already started typing up like 50, 60 different encounters, and her computer crashed. and it didn't save. And so she was so frustrated that, and I was like, I don't know how that happened because she did save it, or we thought, and we couldn't retrieve it. So we kind of thought maybe this was something paranormal in and of itself. And she's like, it's almost like the stories don't want to be told. And we had held some of those back. But yeah, when you're looking at this, I said, look, we can't, like with the Dogman book, you can't tell every Dogman story ever told because it's just too much. And the Bigfoot, same thing. Ghosts, same thing. So you have to kind of pick a niche. So I was talking to Lyle Lyle Blackburn's a good friend of mine, great author, an English major. I learned that on the way back from the conference. He was telling me about it.
Nice.
And I had the pleasure of just listening to him talk and just talk about a lot. He just talked, and I listened. And I learned a lot about writing. And so he got me all fired up to write, But it's kind of like, fighting, like I coached people and stuff, and they're all fired up. And then when they get in there, and Tony, you can attest to this, once they get hit.
Everything changes once you get punched in the face.
That's right. They get punched, and they're like, I don't know if I want to fight. Sounds like fun because they want to hit and kick, but they don't want to get hit. Well, once I started writing, it was like, dude, this is not working correctly. So I had to enlist the help of Barton and Ken and some other good friends of mine and said, like, I am not a writer. But I don't want to be one of these researchers that just writes stuff and then you're really just a researcher who's trying to be a writer. So you
want to make a good book at the very least.
Yeah, so you got to enlist the help of people who've done it before and who are good at it. So what they've given me invaluable help, And so one of the things I said, we have to find a niche. So Lyle, when he wrote Lizard Man, he's like, dude, I wanted to write the whole, but you can't write everything about reptilians because it's so vast. So he had to kind of focus in on that one particular account, and it made an entire book. But, and then, of course, you read the book, it goes to the different conclusions of what it is or what it could be, whatever. And it's funny because everybody takes something different away from it. I'm going to rat Ken out on this one. Ken said, well, if you read the book, he comes to the conclusion that it's a Bigfoot. And I'm like, okay, so I finished reading the book, Ken, and he actually doesn't just say that it's a Bigfoot. I'm not going to give it away. People can go read the book. He lets people come to their own conclusion by saying there's postulating on different theory. Now, funny because Ken is a Bigfoot guy, so what does he do? He jumps to the conclusion that Lyle puts out there that it is some form of Bigfoot because that's what he wants to believe. Well,
interpretation,
yeah,
baby.
And if you're listening, Ken, I love you, Ken. You're one of my best friends, but I disagree. I respectfully disagree, and we respectfully disagree about a lot of crap. Okay, we're good friends. We can do that. We just,
Yeah.
But sometimes you come to a conclusion, and it's your preconceived whatever. So now the average person is going to take your encounter. Okay, they're going to break it down, chop it up, because you can proselytize them all day. And then they're going to turn it into pontification because that's just because they don't want to hear it. But when you take it into your brain and you say, what is this that happened to Jenna? Now, you got all these people in the chat. We got almost 400 people in there. They're saying different things like, okay, was it a shapeshifter? Was it some sort of out-of-body experience? Was it this? Was it that? All these different types of theories. Only you can tell the story, and even you don't know what the heck it was or what was really going on. You just know that it looked like a Sasquatch. But it's all based on everybody's perspective, It's all perspective.
Yes. I was actually asked, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was actually asked, I had told a couple of people at a VIP event that had come in for the VIP event, and I had told them, I said, I just experienced this, and I had just experienced it the day before, and they asked a question, and it really shocked me for a minute because I never actually asked myself the question. He said, are you sure it was Bigfoot and not Dogman or something? And I thought about it, and I had to think about exactly what I saw. And like I explained before, it was the hairline that I saw. It almost looked like it was going down, but it was like a hard hair. So it was actually going up and over. Does that make sense? So instead of going down like bangs, it was like coming from the forehead, extending up and back.
That's weird. So
yeah.
So you're talking about maybe Nicolas Cage. I don't know.
You know, it could have been. It's either him or another actor. I can't remember his name, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Or Scorpion, my friend Scorpion. That's what it sounds like him.
He's in the chat.
That
You know who you are,
hairline.
Squirt.
Hi, Scorpion. Love your hairline already.
He's like, I didn't mean to do that, dude. So let me ask you a question, Jenna. Like when you saw this, there were other people around, right?
Oh yeah,
And
there was a whole table. All
yeah,
of
whole
us were there.
table, right? I know. I'm just reiterating, but you saw that, and nobody else really, like nobody else reacted, like they weren't seeing like what you.
Well, she said her.
I know that, but I'm saying like everybody else.
Oh, okay.
Besides that,
So the tables themselves were lengthwise. So it was actually a bunch of tables, like maybe 3 or 4 tables put the lengthwise. So it was long instead of wide or in another shape. So we were sitting at the very end of the table. So Tom was in a wheelchair, so he needed to be at the end of the table. And of course, you know, I really loved him, so I gravitated to him and his friend. So like I said, we were right at the end. I openly said, "Oh my gosh." And I was telling people after it happened, and they didn't realize that it had just happened. I talked to Amy Boo, and Amy was like, "Oh, wow." And I talked to Jen, and I was like, "Why isn't anybody freaking out like I am?" But they all thought that it had happened in the past. And it wasn't until after that I said, "No, this just happened." I mean, it was crazy. So yeah, so we were at the end of the table. So it wasn't like everybody was staring at us. We were all in our own conversations. I mean, a bunch of Bigfoot people, come on, we want to talk and share.
yeah. A friend of mine, Justin Decker, he's always in the chat, and I don't know if he's in there now. He's a good friend of
Hey,
mine.
Justin.
But he and he's always in our groups and stuff. He ate dinner with you guys, and he said y'all were the best. He said he got to go eat dinner with you guys. And he chose you guys over like Scott Carpenter and a couple other people, I guess. So he was all like, and I don't know Scott personally or whatever, but he was all like, if he was a Scott Carpenter guy, liked him and whatever. But he said you guys were super nice and super friendly.
That's so cool.
He really enjoyed getting to meet you guys. That was like, I was kind of jealous. Not that I wanted to meet y'all because I'm arrogant and only like myself, but I was like, Justin, you wanted to meet them over me? Like, come on, dude.
It was pretty hurtful, to be honest.
I turned into a Valley girl. I was like, yeah, like whatever, you know?
Oh my gosh, can you believe it?
I was like, you want to get dinner with them over me? Like, okay,
how
dude.
Dare
like,
ya?
oh my God. Like, but I was totally stoked. I was like, well, he said, she's cool, man. You know, the Jen and Jenna, they're all real cool. I was like, okay, cool. I was stoked. I was like, I gotta get them on the show.
Oh,
So-
that's so awesome.
Yeah. And
Well, I'm so excited to be on your show. In the beginning, I apologize. You just said to go, and I thought, where do I begin? So I love going off of questions.
yeah. So so this incident happened to you. Did it change your perspective? Well, sure it did, but I mean, how did it change your perspective on what you believe about Bigfoot and what it could or what it is or isn't? I mean, how did it change your thinking? Or
My thought and my ideas and my theories on Bigfoot have changed probably weekly, if not daily, on different things that I'm finding out, people I talk to. But what I experienced has changed me as far as acceptance and knowing. I've just accepted that anything is possible. Now, I thought I accepted that before, mind you. I really did. I thought I accepted, yes, everything, love, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm like, no, I'm not living in the past. I'm not living in the future. I'm living in the now. And the now is when I'm going to see these things. And the now is where I'm going to keep my eyes open. And the now is where they're going to show me whether, like I said, their spirit, their celestials, you know, whatever. I'm keeping my eyes open now. That's how it's changed me.
Here's a good question. That one guy asked, did it change your perspective of the person it happened to? Or
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I adored Tom.
and now you
In the
don't.
first
You think he's
place-
satanic?
Now he's a nut. No, I'm just kidding. I love Tom even more. I really do. He is so awesome. You know, he's the sweetest guy I think I've met in so long. He's got a heart of gold, and everything he says comes from a place of truth and love. And I just love that about people.
Yeah, well,
So, yeah,
I'm a
it
pretty good
definitely
guy
did.
too. I'm just saying that's all right.
Yeah, we're pretty
I'm
great,
not trying to
but, yeah,
insert
I guess-
myself, but whatever.
I guess Tom sounds
Yeah.
cool, but whatever.
Oh yeah, prove it.
Well, I can't morph into Bigfoot, but I can make some weird faces. Watch. Okay, no, whatever.
You know what? I can't even see you. Okay, I was wondering about this. I saw on my cell phone, you said I didn't have to get ready. So right now I'm like sitting here looking like poo. And I saw on my phone, I said, I saw, turn the camera on. And I thought, I better not have to be on camera right now. I don't have to.
No,
Like,
no.
it's not a big deal.
It's,
Okay.
it's just us.
Yeah, we're used to people not. I mean, it's whatever. We don't make people get ready because I've had a lot of people tell me that. Am I going to be on camera? You know, and I'm like, nah. And they're happy because they don't have to actually get ready and
Oh,
get all dressed
it's
up.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't put makeup on or anything. I just put on my chain, I miss a T-shirt,
See now.
and then I just
Oh, so you let yourself look like that?
I do. I go out in public like this all the time. I'm not
I
proud.
think you look sexy natural.
Thank
it's
you.
a very sexy natural. Yeah,
Well, I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
that. I'm not a proud person. I go out and I just look like me, and you know. But I tell you, when you have an experience like this, and
Yeah.
you tell somebody now that it's the cat's out of the bag, you've told this story.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah.
Do you think that people are going to look at you? You're not worried about that, right? You're not worried about people think, right?
Actually, no. And we haven't even talked about this, but I went through an NDE. A doctor had nicked my colon in 2009, and he sent me home. It was unbeknownst to him that he nicked my colon. He sent me home for 48 hours. I laid in bed, and I was dying, and I kept calling the asking her, saying, oh, something's wrong. My pain is really bad. Well, needless to say, I ended up in the emergency room. They had another car accident victim in there, and they said, we have to take this girl, meaning me, right now. She's an hour away from dying. They were wheeling me. I remember being wheeled back to surgery, and my body was starting to shut down at that point. And the next thing I know, I am experiencing a lot of different crazy things. Like I said, it was an NDE, and I won't go into everything, but I will tell you my life has completely changed. And when you asked if I am worried about what people think, I'm not anymore. I used to be so concerned about what people thought of me. And I guess it's so silly because my mom used to teach me. She used to say, you know, Jenna, why do you think that you're that important that everybody has to think about what you're wearing, what you look like? You know, everybody's thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you, you know, and I would never let go of that thought because I would always think, oh my gosh, I've got to look this way. You know, we're really hard on ourselves. After the NDE, I dropped all of that. I dropped off the past. The past is no longer part of me. It is not who I am. After that NDE, I became a brand new person, and that's who I am today. So I do not care what people say about me. I love them, whether they don't love me back. You know what I mean? But I just want to be a good example for people, and I'm Christian, and I pray for myself and others, and I just want to be, like I said, a good example.
Yeah, and so the NDE.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Tell us what happened. What was it like?
Okay. Well, there's a few different things that happened. One of which is I ended up being in a small room, and I'll just tell you right now, I believe it to be the room of life experience, where you go over what you've done in life. And I walked through the doors, and which were just, you know, regular doors. And I looked to my left, and on the wall, it was as if someone was playing the old black and white video cameras, but they were on the wall. And I was seeing people I knew and I didn't know, and some pictures were black and white and some pictures were in color, and some were videos and but there's no sound. That's one thing I just remembered. There was no sound. And I remember looking forward after looking to the left of me and to the right, and then I looked forward, and there was this just little tiny black woman, and she was so beautiful and just tiny. And she looked at me and she said, "You're seeing this, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You shouldn't be." And she guided me out the other door. And I was just like, you know, at the time you're just like, okay, you know, you're not you're not you, you know. So I walked out the other door. Another situation was I ended up in and this is actually where I saw Christ. I was in a meadow, and I looked to the left of me, and there were trees, probably what seemed to be miles high, and the leaves were flapping like the wind was blowing them like crazy. But these weren't just regular leaves. The color were so vibrant. The colors were vibrant, and they were like waving hello, and they were huge, and they were just gorgeous. And the strange thing was, I knew, even though I saw the wind blowing, I didn't feel it on my skin. I was still in that mode where you're attached to your body, even though you're not in it. So I knew it was supposed to be windy. So then as I followed the trees down and I looked at the grass was probably maybe 7 inches to 10 inches high, and it was moving like water, like waves. And I just thought, how beautiful. And it even had a different color green than the leaves, and everything was moving so beautifully and slowly. And as I followed the trees on my left, I never did look to the right, but as I followed the trees and the grass to my left all the way to where they ended, there was a small stone path that was right in front of another line of trees, which was in front of me. So there was a path and a door in between the 2 sets of trees. On that path, it was a stone path, there was a man on a horse, and I really didn't pay much attention to him. There was 2 little boys on the back of his horse, and I wanted to get on that horse so bad. I wanted to jump on so bad, but there was no room for me. And I was so sad. And when I realized there was no room for me, I looked at Christ in the eyes, and it was like I had a suction in the back of my back that just like sucked me away. And I was so mad. And I think for months and months and months, I was so angry at myself for missing the opportunity. And it wasn't until I realized those 2 little boys on the back of that horse were probably my father and brother. My father had passed away 5 years prior to me, and my brother had just passed away 6 months prior to me. So I started realizing that I think that was them saying, there is no room for you. You need to be here. You have a job to do. You're not getting on this horse. So it was an amazing, beautiful experience. I know I'm here to help people, and I think I'm on a great adventure.
Hmm. And you guys, you and your team, you go out and you look for Sasquatch. Have you had any physical encounters with the elusive Mr. Squatch?
Mr. Squatch, how formal. We have a fabulous thermal that we have, and I can't remember how many minutes, but we had to cut it down because there was just too much time. We have a thermal out online right now. You can go on to She Squatchers Official on YouTube. That's where we do our radio shows, and She Squatchers Official on YouTube, on Facebook as well. And you can check out some of our pictures and videos, and that video that I'm talking about right now with thermal, that will be on there. We had someone actually do an enhancement. We don't know how to enhance anything, so everything we share, if we get evidence, we put it out there. We're showing it as is. But we did have someone enhance the video for us so you can kind of see the colors better. We had it on black hot, which the hair is white. It shows as white, and anything hot like skin shows up black. So during this time, we ended up seeing Jen had done, did you know what we do as far as remote viewing? Probably not.
We talked about it a little bit.
Okay. Well, we do something that's called remote viewing. And what we do is we look on like a map, and we basically look at the places that we're going to using our third eye.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know remote
everyone
viewing
can
is.
do it. Well, this isn't regular remote viewing. It's actually more of like a room. Yeah. Okay. So it's more of like a locational remote viewing where we're actually have the site and we're looking at the site instead of getting, the other kind. But now I forgot the question.
No, I asked you if you had seen Bigfoot, and you said you had thermal.
Oh, Yeah, we got this thermal. And so, yeah, if you want to check it out, it's a really good thermal. I mean, he's basically working with something hot. And unfortunately, Tammy, all the equipment was mine, and she didn't know how to turn it on, and she was watching it. It was on, but she didn't know how to push the record button. There's very few buttons on a pocket FLIR. And so we had our pocket FLIR out, and she was like, where, come on, please help me. And as she was trying to get our help, I guess it raised its arm, and she said she could see the hair falling down from its upper arm. So yeah, that was amazing. I haven't had any like face to face yet, but I definitely plan, other than what I've seen through Tom. But we've got a lot of expeditions coming this summer, so.
You guys planning on coming to Texas and finding the Bigfoot down here?
You know, I am in Texas right now. Texas is my heart. I absolutely love it. In fact, I know there's a certain place in Texas I definitely want to go and check out. One of the biggest areas known for Bigfoot. I think, do you know where I'm talking about?
The Big Thicket, probably Sam Houston, Cato Lake.
Yep.
Yeah, one of those areas.
Yep. Yeah. So I was actually just talking to someone about it, and he was like, you've got to go there if you're here. And I thought, dang it.
It's considered jungle.
More to
it's
do.
So thick, yeah.
That's exciting. That's exciting to me. Yeah,
they haven't even mapped it all out. There was a story that I had gone over with a friend of mine. Actually, it was we were talking about him earlier. It was Lyle. We were at the conference in Mineola last year, and we were talking about, and it was a guy that wrote a book called Into the Big Thicket. I can't remember his name now.
I'll look it up.
Rob Riggs. And look it up. Make sure that's correct. I think it's Rob Riggs. But he's deceased now, but he wrote a book called Into the Big Thicket. And it was, I think it was in that book where there was a story about this guy climbing a telephone pole and getting shot in the leg with an arrow by these natives that were living like the Stone Age. So, I mean, it's so remote, and there's a lot of areas that aren't mapped by satellite because they're just covered by trees. And so, yeah, it is one of a couple of different places in the country that's considered jungle.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what's even weirder. I got a story not too long ago, and Tony, my co-host, and Anthony, both of them can tell you, we've covered some weird stories out of that Detroit area because when civilization falls like that, I mean, nature takes it back pretty quick. And
yeah, it does.
We got stories of like bears and all kinds of stuff, hellhounds. But one of the stories I got was of a Sasquatch type creature chasing someone into one of these abandoned industrial buildings. And
really?
The guy was like, it's funny. I don't know if you know Marvin Allen. Shout out to Marvin. He's a friend of mine.
Hey, Marvin.
We actually had a little feud or whatever, but it was all fake. We staged it like Eazy-E and Dr. Dre so we could get views. But it was all, I'm joking. But no, we had it.
I was going to listen and I was going to be nice.
But we had this little feud, but we're good friends now. But the guy, when he started talking to me, it sounded like Marvin. And he said, "Hey man, I got this story, and I was like, is this Marvin?" And he goes, "Excuse me?"
Yeah.
And he started talking a little different, but he goes, "No." And his name is James, but anyway, he goes, "No." And I was like, "No." I said, "You sound like a friend of mine." So I literally thought this guy sounds like Marvin Allen, but it wasn't. It was it's another guy. And he told me this story when he was younger. Well, he's not that old. He's like 30. But when he was young, about 10 years ago, he said him and a couple friends were out hanging around, and they were trying to get some booze from another friend that would sell booze after hours. Let's put it that way. So they met him by this, and they had to walk, so they met him. And long story short, anyway, they ended up getting chased by this, what can only be described as a Sasquatch. I mean, and this is in Detroit, but of course this is an area that looks like bombed out Baghdad. And oddly enough, I've gotten stories out of Baghdad. I had a girl who told me and Tony, we were working out. Shame to say this on the air, it was Planet Fitness. But we got the membership. In my defense, we got the membership because it was COVID and they were 24/7, right, Tony? And Tony's weak. Tony's very weak.
It's a gym, and they got like 5-pound weights.
Weak,
I'm
Tony?
working up. I'm
Are
getting
your
there eventually.
arms like noodles?
Noodles is very generous.
Really? Okay.
Pool noodles, the fun noodles,
call
the
you
fun noodles.
noodles.
Or whatever.
I'm the ramen noodles before you put the water on
Oh
them.
my gosh!
Oh my
They're very-
gosh,
they're very
Joni, you make
crunchy,
my
yeah.
heart hurt.
It's just as brittle too.
But just as brittle, yeah. And Anthony's always teasing him. But you know, it's crazy because like the girl started talking to us, and she worked there very briefly. But she was an Arabic girl, and she was from Iraq. And she told us a story of these little creatures of her mother in the middle of the city. And this is a war zone. Like this was a war zone. And she said that her grandmother, she was like set in her ways. And it's crazy because I was watching a show last night about Christopher Koch, who I don't know if anybody knows who that is. He was a drug lord from Jamaica. Now, a couple of my friends that are Jamaicans, one of them, he's been my friend for 25 years. And he had a run-in with a couple of these thugs in this bad area, and they almost killed him. Well, anyway, me and my wife were watching the show last night about Christopher Koch, was how they captured him and all that. Long story short, there's this big shootout going on, and there's this woman, and she's just walking along, and she's like eating a honey bun. She's like, they're like, bam, 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 bam. Everybody's shooting at everybody, and she's just walking along,
Wait,
looking
what
kind
is
of
she
back,
eating?
like a honey bun
honey
or
bun?
something. Yeah, and she's carrying the bag, and she's just like looking back over her shoulder, like, I don't been knowing what they've been doing, but they've been making a lot of noise, man. You know, like she didn't even care. Like it was not even on her radar. But that the army and the police were having a shootout with drug dealers. It was unreal, and they were just like killing the heck out of each other, man. Like they even show like real footage. Like this guy like laser, he's been shot. You can see it.
Oh
I know
my
what it looks like.
gosh.
I've seen it in real life. But the guy fell, and he was laying there, and you're just going like, wow. And this woman's just like, yeah, I'll be eating my honey bun. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But this girl told us the story. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, it goes to say when people get used to certain situations, it doesn't phase them. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Well, yeah, like my friend, well, a couple of my friends, I'm ashamed to say this in some ways, but I have a lot of friends who've been locked up, but they tell you the abnormal becomes normal because they're in prison. They've been in prison, in and out of prison. I have friends that I grew up with, back in the day, it was different.
You're a bad boy, Josh.
Back in the day, which was a Tuesday. So what's crazy though was like when we were talking about that, and I told my wife, I said, "You see that lady? She don't even give a crap that these people are shooting whatever. She's probably used to it." But this girl that told me and Tony this story about these little monitos, as we say in Spanish, little duende, little like gnomes we were talking about the other day.
Yes.
And she said that they were crawling over the fence, and her grandmother was like, "Yeah, I'm going to sleep outside." Like she did not care that they were like soldiers going through there, and that they were fighting house to house, street to street the week before. They were like, "Grandma, you need to be inside the house. You don't need to be sleeping outside." And she's like, "No. I'm going to I'm going to sleep out. I like to sleep outside where it's cool, because it was hot." So she said she went out there and slept out there with her grandma. And she told us this story that her grandma would talk about seeing these little creatures, these little people, and that she was out there with her and she saw them, and this was like in the middle of a war zone. So it's a really interesting story. So now I believe when we talked the other day, you had told me that you had an encounter with what you thought was a gnome, right?
Yes, I sound like a crazy person, but it really happens. Okay, this is what happened. So Jen and I and the rest of the team at the time, this is early on in She Squatcher team, they said we had found an amazing set of prints that were going up a sandhill, and it was at night, and so we wanted to do we had to come back, but we wanted to get prints, and we weren't very good at making the casts at that time because we were very new. And making casts on a sandhill is very, very difficult, especially for new beginners. So anyway, they said, okay, they had a big van and everybody got in the van and they said, okay, who's going to stay and watch the prints? And I was like, well, I don't care, I will. And then of course Jen Cruz says, well, I'm not going to let Jenna stay here alone, I'm going to stay with her. Well, we had some really good we had some good thermals and things, and I happened to have a thermal, and I was looking at a group of bushes, and I was just looking in the bushes, and I was looking around, and all of a sudden I was pointing to a certain area, and I saw what kind of resembled a gnome. And it was just standing there. It was just standing there straight. And this was through thermal, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. Because you don't think it could be real at the first, when you're going through this, you're like, oh, that's so weird. And all of a sudden, its face turned straight at me. And I went, and I freaked out. It was the first time I saw a gnome, and it freaked me out. That thing, when that head turned and looked at me, it was no longer fake anymore. It was real when it looked at me. That freaked me out. That's another wow moment to my life. Like,
And that
whoa.
was when you were looking for Bigfoot. You found
Yeah. Well, we
the
weren't even looking for
Travelocity
Bigfoot.
gnome.
We were there waiting for them to come back with things that we needed to get the prints. So we were just waiting there before, we were looking at Bigfoot prints, but we weren't looking out for Bigfoot at all. We were just waiting there. It was incredible.
Now, I made a joke, but let me ask you a question. I'm being serious.
Oh,
So,
no. Did I miss your joke?
No. Did it look like okay? No, and this is going to sound funny. That's why I kind of joked about it. But did it look like the Travelocity gnome, or was it like an actual creepy looking, scary red cap looking gnome?
It just looked like a regular old gnome, the kind you see in books,
Like
like
the
old books.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see any color, obviously, because it was thermal, and it was all, I don't remember seeing dark and light as far as temperature wise, because that's why it was so weird, because when I was looking at it, I was like, that looks like a gnome. And then, boom.
Dick
So
Richards says that's crazy.
It is crazy.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
By the way.
happens. It happens.
It does. And the thing is, when it happens to you, you feel crazy, and you start questioning everything about it. Okay, where was I? Was it the sun? Was it reflection? Was it this? Could it be this? And you've got to start turning into a detective. In fact, I think that's basically all we are. All of us that are looking into these paranormal, these paranormal issues and these things that aren't supposed to exist, all we are is a bunch of detectives. We're just doing it on our own. You know what I mean?
Over here, we're kind of experts. We kind of already
we don't
know
need
it
to
all.
do any of that.
It's nice to know that you
I'm
guys
so
are trying to
sorry.
find it out.
The mortals are still trying to figure out
That's
what we
cool.
know, but that's okay.
Sorry, I totally forgot you guys. I'm sorry how
Yeah.
high you are. I have
that's
to lower
okay.
myself again.
No problem. I forgive you. Now, somebody here said that one guy, and we keep saying that one guy, that's actually his handle. That's not just us saying some guy. But that one guy had asked, he asked a question. He said, was it during a remote viewing? What remote viewing? Now, I don't know. You could rephrase that, guy, because I don't know if he's exactly.
I understand.
What
I
he's
understand what he's
asking.
asking.
Yeah.
I understand what he's asking. So, no, we hadn't remote viewed this area. We had actually been driving. We were driving about 55 miles an hour down this road, and Jen, we had gone through a few experiences, and she was able to tune her frequency. She understands what frequency to feel when it comes to Bigfoot. We were driving 55 miles an hour down this road, and all of a sudden she's like, wait, stop. She goes, there was a road back there. And so we backed up and we pulled in and we went straight. I mean, well, of course, we went over to a few different areas, but the first area we went to was right over to where the footprints were. And we were like, wow. So that's one huge benefit that Jen has, is she's got this amazing ability to tune her frequency. And so she doesn't even have to remote view if we're just driving. But remote viewing we do before we usually go out, especially now. Now, no matter where we go, we're remote viewing. When we first started, we were new. So we weren't doing as much remote viewing. But thank you for the question.
Dick Richards says that gnome is not your buddy. In fact, it will kill you if it could gain the authority. The little people are your enemy. What do you think?
I've always said that tiny people need to be
Really?
just stay away
Okay,
from
well,
it.
Tony, you attack people who are just short because you're angry that you're just real skinny.
That doesn't make sense.
Are you- Tony, are you short and skinny?
No,
I'm just curious.
tall. I'm very tall. We're all tall
I just
people
wanted
here.
to see.
That'd be even more horrible.
That's why my war against short people is valid.
Okay, well, do you remember the song "Short People Got No Reason"? I'd sing it for
Oh
you, but
my
I don't think
gosh.
we can sing
Man, my
songs
wife
on the
is
radio.
short
by the
and-
piano player.
yeah,
I forgot his name.
I have to defend her all the time from these two tall Lincolnoids over here. I'm
don't-
6'4". Anthony's a little over 6'4". Tony, what are you, 6'3"?
6'3".
6'3".
Oh my gosh, you guys are giants!
I
I
don't
had to
hate-
stretch to 5'5" at the doctor's office. Like seriously, I stretched.
You know, my wife
5'5".
is she's
She's about 5'5".
yeah, she's short, but I love her. She's my rock, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You know.
That's sweet.
And when she makes me mad, we have really tall cabinets. I just say, "You're not going to eat that," and I put it up at the top cabinet, and that's all there is to it. And I kick the ladder away. So
You don't get any chocolate, little girl.
she's listening right now, probably very upset. Honey, you know I love you. And all this was prompted and brought on by Tony. I blame Tony. Tony.
Dang straight.
I don't hate short
Oh,
people,
dang
just
straight.
short, tiny little humanoids. They're
I thought you said
abomination.
I don't hate short people, just Nelly, and I was like, dang.
Jeez.
And
Oh,
Nelly knows how ridiculous you are, Tony. And she's always trying to encourage me to buy you food because she knows all you eat is noodles.
You know, noodles
you are
aren't
what you eat.
bad.
Noodles are good, but unless you're like Tony, and then we'll have like steak, you know, what is it, like ribeyes, you know, and Tony's over there wanting to eat noodles, and we're like, and then Anthony
I have some
chastises him
noodles?
all the time, says, "Hey, you want to get bigger?
Like noodles with no protein.
if you want to lift weights, you
Just
better start
slurping up rice noodles and then going to the gym,
going to the gym. It's not going to help."
wasting your time.
Yeah, I think you need some meat, Betty.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have to say, I grew up on a farm, so I'm a meat and potatoes girl. I'm never going to be super skinny, so never expected people. But I love meat. I tell everybody they should be eating meat. I respect people for not eating it and making their own choices, but I think
I'm not a
it's
vegetarian.
healthy for the body.
I just
Well, I mean, you know, and there's ways to eat.
You're a noodle lover.
There's some ways
Yeah.
you can eat healthy and be a vegetarian, you know, but it's like,
Oh, gosh,
you know,
yeah.
some people, though, because like I ate dinner the other day with David Weatherly, he's a friend of mine, and he is a good author. You know, if you don't know who, he's a really good author, but he is a
Him and
vegetarian.
his wife
are
are-
vegetarians, but they eat pretty hearty. Like I could see how they, you know, they don't look like they're like, I'm a vegan. You should try this. I'm about to fall over dead. They're not like
Yeah.
that. But me and Ken were joking about that the other day. Ken's like, I've been around some of these people.
they're basically new cryptids.
Yeah, some of these people, not David and his wife, because they look very
They're new
healthy. But
cryptids.
there's some people, like there was one at my conference, not gonna say names. They're a listener to the show, and no offense. And I asked them this if I could make the joke about them, and they said no, absolutely not. But I'm gonna do it anyway. But they were just
right.
like, they were going to fall out. And I'm like, can you order some pizza? Because all they're serving is barbecue. And it was a listener of the show. And I did actually ordered her a pizza. But I was like, okay, you know, maybe you should try meat, you know. And then she's like, I'm having a panic attack. I'm like, once again, maybe you should try meat and you should try calming down. I don't know. That was just my advice to her. It's not medically approved or anything, but I believe it works. So we have another comment here.
Food
Joanne,
makes me happy.
so Joanne Hartnett says, it's not surprising that she is able to see what others are unable to see because she has been to the other side. Do you think that that's what it is?
Well, I
That's a
think.
good question.
Hold on. I'm asking her, not Noodle Arms over here.
Well, okay.
Noodle, if you want to answer the question, you
Well,
certainly
I was just
can.
going to say because
Oh,
I've
no,
been
I'm
paying
not calling you
attention to your
Noodle.
interview. But you
I
said
can't
that you've
call him
been
Noodle.
your whole life have been experiencing stuff, right? So it wasn't just this
Yeah.
event that caused it. But do you,
Yeah, my entire life I've experienced that. I've been extremely sensitive. I'm an empath, and sometimes people don't understand quite how much an empath feels because an empath not only feels it emotionally, you can actually feel physical, and sometimes you're feeling things that you don't want to feel. But
Yeah.
so that's been happening for a very, very long time. But as far as seeing the cryptids and looking for Bigfoot, yeah, that was all after. And you're right. I'm sure I am seeing some of the things I'm seeing because my eyes are more wide open. And I've been to the other side, and I know there's a heck of a lot out there that we all do not know about. And we need to start opening our eyes to it because, guys, it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about it. I sound nuts. I used to listen to people like this, and I used to think,
Yeah, I used to.
You know,
I
but
would always, when I first
once
started,
you see things.
when I first started at this, and I would get people's Dogman stories, the guy that I was giving the stories on his show, giving them to or whatever, and I have a very well-known, you know, situation with him. Everybody, it's been very public feud, whatever. I'm not dogging and bagging on the guy. Okay. Dogging, not, no pun intended.
But bump.
Yeah, but I did have like there was kind of a rift there that was developing because I would get stories that would come to me that were, you know, the Dogman was a part of it, but I had to just give the Dogman part of it, and he was not interested in hearing any of the other part, or he didn't really want it on the show because he didn't think his audience would go for it, whatever, and that's his prerogative. You know, I mean, my anger toward him is quelled. You know, it goes back to, you know, whatever. But since my mom passed away, there was something that happened. But you know, as time goes on, I'm like, you know what? I believe in forgiveness and just trying to love people, regardless, and just letting things go. So you know, he does have there are some good guests on there. I'm not going to say anything about the guests, but it is. He kind of was trying to build a narrative. And I understand that. It's his show. He can do whatever he wants with it. But I needed to do more because there were people giving me Dogman stories, but it was like that house we went into when we did the investigation where there was the shadow. You know, there was like a ninja blender thing that the top came off. And I was like, you have poltergeist activity going on here. This isn't just Dogman. There's a lot of stuff going on. And so when that was happening, I couldn't really go to his show and talk about, because his show was focused, you know, laser pointing on Dogman. And so when it got too far out with other stuff, that just wasn't going to fly. So I wasn't a big fan of like having things edited out or having to have things edited out that didn't pertain to Dogman, because sometimes the Dogman was just a part of it. It was just a sidelight. It's kind of like Skinwalker Ranch. You had the whole werewolf thing going on there, the Skinwalker, but there was a lot of other stuff going on. And if you only heard the Dogman part of it, well, you're not getting the whole, you know, the whole meal. You're just getting one of the courses. And one of the things that I think with you, like, you're just one of those people like me. You're an experiencer who's had a lot of, and you say you're an empath. My wife is definitely an empath. She, like, if somebody's feeling something, she feels it like full force, and it causes her to be emotionally invested in things at times when I tell her, I said, you have to pull back, honey, because you go, I told her all the time, I'm like, honey, you're getting too emotionally invested, because she'll give these people anything and everything. You know, go ahead.
That's true, though. I mean, you have to really stay grounded. And when you're not, like when you're tired or you're run down, your energy is low, it's so easy just to fall into that and be pulled into someone else's reality, you know, their emotions. But like I said, it's not easy. And I think a lot of people that are empaths have a really extra hard time in high school and with growing up and going through puberty. And, you know, you're feeling, because when you feel a feeling and you're around someone else who's also feeling that feeling, it's like the feeling, it expands and it gets so much more that, you know, if I'm around you, I now I can't remember your name. Noodle?
Noodle.
Oh my God.
What? I forgot your name.
You
Start calling him that.
We're just gonna call him Noodle. How about Ramen? Ramen.
We should start calling him Mr. Noodle, like the guy from Elmo's World.
Mr. Elmo's World. Oh my gosh. Wait, what was your Brian? I am so sorry.
My name's Mushu.
He calls himself Mushu.
Okay, I'm calling you. Do you mind if I just call you Noodle for now? Because it feels so comfortable coming out of my mouth.
Noodle.
And it's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful compliment to you. I remember a name, so it's great.
Tony doesn't. Okay, put the camera on him. Well, you're missing this look on his face.
I'm enjoying this, I'll be honest, but.
Oh, you guys are so much fun. I love this. See, I love people who can just converse, you know?
Well, we don't do interviews. We do discussions.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah.
This one's a funny one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Noodle. Don't be upset. That will be your new nickname, though. You know that, right? Is Noodle. Noodle is...
Yeah, that's the annoying part.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, man.
Ryan.
That's
not even my name.
Jeez.
It's like that song. That's
kidding.
Not my name.
I know, right?
Gosh. Oh.
I do have to tell you something really cool, though.
Okay.
I don't know how much time we have left, but I have been touched twice, very, very physically touched by spirit. Once by, I believe, to be either an angel or someone in my past. And another time it was, well, I'll just explain the first one. So have you ever been touched by spirit or, okay, so you'll understand what I'm talking
This
about.
happened the other night at one of my job sites. Actually.
Really? Oh, so anyway, getting back to me.
Go ahead.
What do you think about me? No, I'm kidding. But anyway, I was in Texas and I was going to lay my hand down on a railing, and I wasn't paying attention. I was at my mom and dad's place. They have a place in Texas. When I was young, we'd go to Texas in the winter and then home. My father was a farmer. So we were winter Texans, and I just happened to just slap my hand down like I knew what I was doing onto this railing, and something physically grabs my arm and rips it back really hard. And I just remember turning around going, like, who did that? You know, like, why would anybody do that? Because it was so forceful. And I looked and my arm was still up from being grabbed. And I looked back and there was nobody there. And I was just like, what in the world? And I looked down and there was a scorpion ready to sting. Oh. So, yeah. So I know that things can be physically changed. You know, we can be helped like this. After the second time after my NDE, I had to learn to walk and talk again. I was in a coma for a few weeks. I was in the hospital for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. But anyway, after I came out, I shouldn't have lived is basically what I'm saying. I finally got home after being in the hospital for a few months, then my mom's house to recover. And then finally I got home and I was walking through, and all of a sudden I felt a demon. And I know it was a demon because I could just tell it was so ticked that I lived. I felt it. And it literally, I felt it like I was walking. So it literally pushed me from my left arm. It took its whatever and just shoved me, and I was shoved so hard I literally fell sideways, like slammed sideways into the chair that was right near me, and I couldn't believe it. For a minute I thought, okay, could this be some brain thing? You know how sometimes you have to question it. Is this my brain? Could it have made me fall like this? There's no possible way. I still have the push marks on my arm. You know what I mean? So I think that is absolutely amazing. What happened to you, Josh?
Which time? Because I've been touched, not, different times. I was at a friend of mine's, it was like working at this building that it was used for homeless people to have apartments. What is it called? The terraces.
They were like efficiency apartments.
Yeah, but one of them used to be like, a couple of them used to be hotels, and then one of them was a retirement home, another one was a rest home. The one that was a rest home, and I went into the guy that worked there, into his room. He wanted to grab a notepad or whatever, and I was standing there by the door, or just right inside of it in the door, and something pulled my pant leg. Not down with that. I was like, dude, that's happened a couple times, different things, I've had things rub up against my leg, and I thought it was one of my pets. I looked down, it's not, don't know. But at my job site, one of my job sites, about 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, probably a week and a half ago. What was it? I think we talked about it last week on the show. But
I think it was around 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Something grabbed my side and squeezed, and then for good measure did it again. And I jumped out of the truck, freaked out. And then one time at my house, or my apartment, because I have a house and we have an apartment, it's two different things. The apartment that we were at, it was me and my wife, and we're sitting there in the bed and we're talking. And I sat up on the edge of the bed, and she was telling me something, and I was kind of shaking my head, yeah. And something squeezed my side, almost in the same spot, but not quite, a little lower, like on my thigh, hip, whatever. But that was before this incident a couple weeks ago. That was about 6-7 months ago.
Oh no, I think that was me. I don't think that one counts.
Okay, Noodle.
You gotta take that one out.
He squeezed you. No, I'm sorry. I really don't mean to keep calling you that, but I can't help it. I was wondering, Josh, though, when you were there and you said that when you were sitting on the bed, and what happened?
something squeezed my. It felt like a hand, it squeezed my thigh, and this isn't something that's like rare. I mean, like I've had something like a hand go over the top of my head. I lived in a house for 10 years. It was haunted, so I mean, I had some stuff happen. Yeah, got slapped on my back.
You know how sometimes we can get signs from how I was saying that sometimes they grab us. Do you think that you being pinched in certain areas is a sign for you to maybe get that checked? That's not a psychic feeling that I'm feeling. I'm just asking you if you've ever thought about it that way, that maybe the squeeze, or something, a message for you.
Well, it was pretty terrifying. I didn't. There's other ways for them to tell me, I guess, but I didn't feel like it was pinching me. I just felt like it was like squeezed.
So was it a lot of times you feel a certain feeling when you feel touched. Did you feel, so you said it was a scared feling?
I had, I would say it sort of, it scared me a little bit. Yeah, I would say that. I don't like when some sort of other whatever touches me. I mean, I wouldn't want to be walking through the airport and somebody grab me and touch me on my side either. I mean, it's like I don't want people doing it.
You know what the scary reality, though, is that we probably are in contact with a lot more things than we realize.
Like being in the ocean. Things rub up against you all the time. You don't know what the heck it is.
Oh, yeah.
But I was at an Astros game one time, and this lady, years ago, and this lady says, hey, and she grabbed me on the back, and I'm a big dude, so she must have known a really big guy. Because I turned around and she was like, oh, sorry. And she's sitting there holding like nachos. And I'm like, oh, nachos. And like, I literally reached down and grabbed one and ate it. And I'm not making that up. And she looked at me like I had just slapped her. And I'm like, lady, you just yanked the back of my jersey. So, if I'm going to eat if I eat one of your nachos, and she's like, I thought you were my husband's friend. And I'm like, okay, well, your husband's friend, you yanked and choked me. So, yeah, I think I deserve a nacho. And I walked off. And my brother was sitting there laughing. And we walked and got our seats. It was during an Astros-Phillies game. It's funny because they just played each other in the World Series. But this was years ago. And we were up there in the really nice area. I forgot what it's called. It was
boxes.
Yeah, the box seats, and it was like, and we were going up the escalator, and I had just gotten off, and this lady runs up and says, "Hey," and she yanks on me. I mean, she should have looked to see, who, and I didn't go to follow to see where she went, if she was somebody she knew that looked like me. But I was just like, oh, nachos, and I ate one, and she got real offended, and I was like, you just grabbed me, yanked me backwards. And you're upset because I took a nacho. Well, too bad. That's the price you pay for touching people that you shouldn't be touching people.
There's a toll.
Well,
there's a toll to pay for you,
right? There's a toll to pay to touch Josh.
Yeah, exactly. But at the conference, I'm going to be standing there, and people can pin money on me, and they can touch my sleeve. Yeah, exactly. $20 bill gets you one pat on the shoulder.
Yeah, I'm giving people a crisp high five for $5.
Yeah, and you can touch Tony's noodle arms for $2.
They have to be careful not to break anything.
I'm so there. I'll give it 10. I'll give it 10. I'll get 5 good touches.
5 feels of the ramen?
5 feels of the noodles. I want noodles.
Okay, so Jenna, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for coming on and talking. And I know you were a little nervous when we talked the other day, but I was like, hey, you're going to do great. You had a lot of information, and I'm glad that you did. And we got to get Jen on too, and Tammy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She's a beautiful speaker, and so is Tammy. Yeah, these guys are so awesome. I'm so lucky to be on this team. So thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun, Josh. Anytime you want me to come on, I'm here for you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being a guest, and thank you for coming on and telling us your experiences, folks. Jenna Grover, she's one of the She Squatchers. Be sure and check out, where can they reach you? Where can they find you? Tell the people.
You can reach us at She Squatchers Official, or on YouTube or Facebook, or you can just email us at shesquatchersofficial@yahoo.com.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for coming on, everybody. That's Jenna Grover.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
And thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we had fun. We'll be in touch, Jenna.
All right, cool. Bye, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
So, crazy encounters people have, crazy stories, things that happen to people and do things, whatever. And that was a true story too. Like that really did happen to me. Some lady just grabbed me and she's like, "Hey," and I just turned around and I'm like, "Who is this person?" You know, it was like 10 years ago. You know, and I was an enormous human being at that time. I am still a big guy, but I mean, so I was like, I told my brothers, like, she must have known a really big guy to have confused me with this person. You know, but so if anybody has anything to add, give me your thoughts on any of these stories that we talked about. I'm all ears. I'm waiting. Hello, come on, let's go. Let's get it going here. Beast Titan says, disturbing story on the subject of squeezing my supposed uncle in Bangladesh, squeezed my sausage randomly and promptly, and after... That is messed up, dude, okay? And his handprint remains. That is really messed up, dude. If that's true. He says true. It's disturbing, but it's true. Okay. I didn't know you were from Bangladesh. I don't know. That's crazy. Shade Viking says he likes to drink the ramen broth. Let me tell you something. That is pure sodium, my friend. That is absolutely pure. That is a lot of salt. I wouldn't suggest just drinking the broth. I know one time we checked Tony's blood pressure and it was 155 over like 90. That's no joke. I mean, as skinny as he is, and I tell you right now, it's because of some MSG. Somebody just said the MSG. There you go. I wonder if that could really happen, if somebody can actually touch you and then you keep that, like if anybody's got any stories like that. If you have any stories like that, anybody's ever, not like that one that he told, you know, I didn't read it all the way there before I read it, but he said, I swear it's true. Well, okay, I believe you. But anyway, if anybody has any stories of being touched by someone and then later having like a handprint, because that's something I've never had, I thought I've heard it all, but I've never had anybody give me a story about being touched, kicked, hit, or whatever, and keeping the mark for the rest of their life. Never heard of that. Now, I've heard of people getting spanked, keeping a scar. I got one, believe me. But, I mean, I'm talking like, you know, as far as somebody grabbing your arm or something, you know, and that would be interesting. I wonder what could make that happen. Because, you know, they say that people, when they come back, you know, if they have a birthmark or something, it's from their past life trauma.
Yeah. It's like where they got hit when they
got shot or whatever. Because I got a story. Well, it wasn't, I can't say I got this story. I've read this story. It was on Reddit, but somebody had gotten, they had a birthmark right here under their right eye, in their cheek. And 20 years before that, this was the grandchild of this woman. The uncle had been shot in Vietnam and killed. And when he came back, when she viewed the body, there was, you know, a mark right there underneath, through the cheek, underneath the right eye. And Juan says, some of us like sodium. Yeah, Juan, you're Mexican. So I imagine the Hispanics, Latinos, we have a lot of sodium in our diet. I have to really watch my sodium intake. He says, I like sodium, but sweat it out with lots of exercise. As long as you do a lot of exercise. Diablo says nachos. Yeah, because every time we go eat somewhere, he wants to eat nachos. We could go to the best. I was proud of him the other day when we went to Dos Mary's. Folks, if you ever come to Austin and you're anywhere near the 620 area, Dos Mary's, or Dos Maris, as you would say, is one of the best Mexican food places. We found it, how long ago did we find that place?
Well, I mean,
maybe
December.
like a week ago.
We ate it.
Wasn't a week ago.
It wasn't a week ago.
I know, like the first time we ate there?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was
a couple months at least.
Yeah, 2 months. But we knew about it from about December. We just never been in there before.
We kept driving past it, and one day I asked Anthony, what are the reviews? He said it was good. We stopped and we ate there, and they have all-day breakfast, all-night breakfast. And so I get this omelet called the Texas omelet. It's really good. And you can get the chicken fajita omelet. I like to get the Texas omelet and add chicken or chorizo. It's pretty good. And it's a really good place to eat. Just letting y'all know. But, you know, I have to exercise regularly, to try to get the sodium intake or whatever. But I tell them no salt, and they do a really good job on it. Somebody says, what does a bluish green mark mean? I don't know. Can you get, not all joking aside, get it checked.
That could, I'll get it checked.
I wouldn't trust that.
There's some weird birthmark colors, though.
That is true, too, yeah. But I think, too, that Dos Mary's place is haunted. I do. When I was walking to the bathroom, I looked back, and there's a mirror right there. You know where the hallway is when you go to the bathroom? Yeah. And I saw something behind me, like a guy, behind me for just a second. And I looked back, and I was like, what the heck? And it was gone, real quick, boom, boom. But they believe that it's haunted. There's two brothers. I said they should call it Dos Hermanos. Because the owner, her name is Mary, but she started with another woman named Mary. And that woman dropped off, and it's just her and her sons now. But she has two sons, and I said they're brothers, And they're really nice people, the family. We've gotten to know them. And we actually ate their food today on takeout before the show. But they were one of them's wife was saying that she's kind of has, she was saying that there's stuff, she's seen stuff there. I believe it because I had, the second or third time we were there, I had something behind me. There you go, Tony. Del Taco.
I saw that.
When we, about 10 years ago, Tony was like a teenager, and we were hanging out, and it was like a week before Christmas or something, wasn't it? We were wrapping gifts or something.
Yeah, something like that. It was cold.
It was cold, and we had decided to run to get some tacos at Del Taco. They used to have one over there in Cedar Park, and I remember we were sitting in the drive-thru, and it was taking so long that we fell asleep. Literally, we fell asleep in the driveway or in the drive-thru, and we woke up because somebody started honking at us. And
I remember I was holding the bag in my lap, and they gave us half the order, and we were still sitting there, and I still had time to fall asleep. And as I was falling asleep, I heard honking, and Wolf was like, "Were you asleep?" I was like, "No, I was smelling the food." That's just how tired I was. I was like, geez, it just took so long. Oh, wow. That's great.
Elmo loves Mr. Noodle. All right, what do you think, Mr. Noodle? I was wondering how long it was going to take you.
Oh, my God. What is that? What is that?
It's Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Elmo has his own show?
Yeah, it came on when I was a kid. It's Elmo's World. And it was Mr. Noodle. He was like some goofy dude who do silly slapstick stuff.
Oh, my God.
I'm Mr. Noodle.
It's such a good likeness, dude. Okay. All right. Tony got so mad at this episode. Look, Tony, take it out on Jenna Grover, okay? She's the one that started calling you Noodle. Don't be mad at us.
Actually, you guys started calling me Noodle.
I didn't call it. Was her. She started the whole thing. I don't even, she was out of control, man. I was like, whatever, man. I was totally not agreeing with her behavior of calling you that. Oh, man. Okay. Tiny maracas, guys. He is not happy. He is not a happy camper. That's the thing about camping. Everybody's always trying to tell me to go out and do boots on the ground and go camping. If camping is so great, then why do we use that as a euphemism? Is that what it'd be called? Like a euphemism for people who are not happy? He is not a happy camper. If camping is so dang fun, I don't want to go do it. Well, he keeps trying to get me to go, let's go out there and look for Sasquatch out in the woods. If you had to take a crap, you just wipe it with a leaf. Hope it's not poison oak. I'm okay. I'm okay being in here. Somebody was trying to dog me out the other day, but when, like I've said before, when people try to stand on my head, they lose their balance really quick, because all you got to do is move and they fall. But they think for those few fleeting seconds that they got you. And this guy tried to smart mouth off to me. You don't go out in the woods until I'm out in the woods banging on trees. You know what it sounds like to bang on trees and Sasquatch to bang on the trees? And doggones is not waiting to listen, and then you hear, And then sometimes in the far off distance you hear, woo. And then I go home, unfulfilled, boots full of coleslaw, hang dirty diapers over the chimney. You know, I don't know what you do. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you eat. You can eat noodles. You could eat tree bark. You could eat sawdust. I don't give a crap. Okay? You can go out in the woods and share your apples with Sasquatch all you want. Pack them a lunch. Take your fanny pack with you. I don't care. You can eat a honey bun while people are being shot at like the lady in Jamaica. I don't give a crap. Okay? That's you. You do you, and I'll do me. You have fun out in the woods, running around, looking for, messing with Sasquatch. Okay? I don't care. I don't give a crap. These people, I'm looking for Dogman 24/7 out in the woods. I'm somebody, I'm out there with my gun. So bang, 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 bang. Good for you. Good for you. Okay? And they want to bag on me because I'm doing a show, whatever. And I said, how many people, I asked this gentleman, and you know what? I'm not even going to disrespect my friend because it's his group. Bite my tongue on that one. Okay? A lot of people in this group, about 20,000 people in this group so far, 20 something. This guy tried to tell me, I'm out there 24/7. I'm out here looking. First of all, you don't work. You don't have a job. Apparently, he has time to go and look for Sasquatch. I said, I don't. I do a job, and I also do a show, and I have a lot of other things going on. And he goes, yeah, I saw 5 minutes and you saw it throw up in my mouth, which is like, I don't know how that's possible if you do something for 5 minutes and you throw up in your mouth unless it's cardio, because the guy looks like he probably can't do much cardio without his heart exploding. That being said, I'm not going to make fun of his weight because I'm a little tubby down here. I will say this, okay? First of all, I don't believe that you're out there all the time looking for anything other than snacky cakes. And second of all, okay, if you do find it, what are you going to do? Like, have these people thought this through? Has anybody thought this boots on the ground thing? Have they thought this through? And then I said, how many people are you getting? Guy's got like 35 people on his channel. How many people are watching you walk around stumbling out in the woods within from one of the videos I saw, one eye shot of the city, like, there's like a creek and then there's like people talking, walking on a trail. I'm out here looking for Sasquatch. And I'm like, there's people walking right there. Like, like, what are you doing? Yes. Somebody said getting ticks. And you're getting ticks. You're getting covered in ticks. And you're looking for Sasquatch. And you don't know what you're going to do when you find it. And you're trying to mess with me and talking about I have a show and then I'm not out there in the woods fumbling around looking for Sasquatch. And I said, how many people are watching you do this? We got 452 people right now watching me talk right now as we speak. I estimate we'll probably have 10 to 12,000 views on this show, which is about average. Over the course of several months, it'll eventually hit up there. It'll probably hit 8, 9 pretty quick, right? But after a week, and then it'll taper off, and it'll be about 12. So, we're not setting the world on fire, but we have a pretty steady listening audience. People are showing up to hear us talk about this. This guy's stumbling around the woods, and he's talking about, people that he's looking for. Good luck with that. But don't compare apples to oranges, dude. Okay, my dude? Because I'm not out there walking around near a nature trail. We have them all over by our house. We could, you know what? We should make a video of us walking through the Greenbelt and going, we're looking for Sasquatch. Yeah, and at the same time, we're getting exercise.
Yeah, and then some homeless people will come out of the wood line, just stumbling out.
You guys want
looking
some
like
smack?
their own cryptids.
Pale crawler.
Yeah.
Look, there's rakes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, without further ado, let's do the giveaway. Let's get it going here. Like I said, I only had 2 people from last week that hit me up. I need to get the rest of these people's information.
All right.
So
Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so who hasn't won yet? Let's see.
If you haven't won, go ahead and start saying so in the chat. Did you already get rid of all the names from last week?
Yeah. Oh, crap.
She's like, "Can I call you Noodles?" Tony, all you had to do was say, "No, you may not." You could have just said that. Stood your ground.
It's not annoying because of the name. It's annoying because it sticks. I'm gonna have to hear it later on. That's the part that's pissing me off.
You actually
created it.
You created it. You were the one that called yourself
All right,
Noodles.
see.
You guys called me Noodles.
No, your arms.
No, you guys said my noodle arms.
And then you said something about my arms are actually the ramen before it gets boiled or something like that.
All
right, so
You should have stopped it right there.
all right, so Nina, you're still gonna be on there. Who else? Ace Banner hasn't won. JL Vasquez, let's add you on there. Haven't won. Who else? TCR 44. Ashley Rich, let's add you. You haven't won. Let's see. Shell L hasn't won. Love Cat hasn't won. James Lewis, let's get you on the breaking wheel. All right. Fab Welder 1. I know you've been on the breaking wheel for a while and still haven't won. Let's add you back on there. All right, we got one more slot left. Let's see. Mike Taylor says he hasn't won. Let's add you on there, Mike. Okay. Done. Let's see. All right. Just 1 second. There we go. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and give it the first spin.
John, thank you for that $50 donation. Moment of silence for Mushu's Doodle.
Oh, jeez. It's gonna be a while before he lives that one down. Okay, spin wheel. I mean, not spinning wheel, breaking wheel. See who wins on the breaking wheel, which is ironic because if you're on a breaking wheel, you don't want to win. It's a medieval torture device. No one wins on the breaking wheel.
Okay, who is it?
Not
Who
with
won?
that kind of attitude.
Ashley Rich.
Congrats, Ashley.
So it's important that we reiterate, if you win tonight, make sure you send an email to the email address at the top of the video. See, right up top, right above Wolf's head, right there. Or you can contact him on Facebook, send him a message saying, hey, this is my name, I won, this is my address, and this is my size. If you don't do that, you're not going to get your swag bag, your package. You have to do your due diligence. All right, let's give it another spin. Shell L.
Congratulations. What are they winning tonight?
Their choice. You can have a hoodie, or you can have one of last year's conference shirts, which won't be printed again. If you know, once they're gone, they're gone. So if you, the conference shirts, the sizes, I don't know exactly what we have left for sizes, but once they're gone, they're gone. So it's up to you. Or you can have a hoodie.
Let's give it another spin. See who's gonna win this time. Oh, finally. Fab
Fab
Welder
Welder.
won. It's about
Good job,
time.
man.
All right, so those are the three
He's
winners
been on
for
it
this
a
week.
couple times.
He's been a trooper sticking around like every week.
Well, no, there was one week where he wasn't in the chat, wasn't it? And that's why he wasn't.
No, he actually was, but
You just screwed him around,
well,
Yeah.
he couldn't
Anthony.
respond.
I mean, what could you do?
and right? And we're used to the messing up stuff.
Well, he won this time, so
I think he's rigging this for something. I don't know.
Okay, so all's forgiven now.
Yeah, I guess.
yeah.
Whatever.
I think Fab Welder sent him a message, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden
maybe he's
now
like,
he
hey,
wins.
you like your legs?
Oh man, I don't know. Kind of.
Maybe you want to walk to the store every now and then at some minute. And well, maybe I should just get one of them their hoodies.
All right, so that's three. I was gonna say three welders so far. Three winners so far. All
Congrats to all the winners.
right, so how many are we doing tonight?
3 people tonight, because we still have last week's if they all send me their stuff, and then we have a couple that were swag bags. We got about 10. We got to mail off this week, so got to keep it, because I got to get my taxes done, folks. I need your prayers, okay? I don't want to owe $1 million, and I'm hoping to. And it really and truly is just a lot to do when you have 2 businesses. It is a lot to do.
Yeah.
These guys can attest. I have a study, and in my study, it is just my desk is covered with papers, receipts, and write-offs, and everything you can possibly imagine. And then on top of that, I got to make schedules every week and do payroll and it's getting the stories in the show. And I have one screen, all this stuff to pay the bills beginning of the month, and then the next screen you flip it over and it's stories for the show that I got to go over with Tony or Noodles over here, and then sorry Tony, I couldn't resist. And then I got the other screen, and I just got all this tax stuff I got to, and it's so yeah, man, I'm telling you, dude. And then the guy, I still got to hear back from the catering that we did last year. Felton, Mr. Trey Felton, who's going to be doing the catering this year, Thorndale Meat. Great job last year. We're going to do it again this year for the conference. So don't forget, tickets go on sale Tuesday on Eventbrite. We're going to do it up again this year. Now, we only have, because there's 2 rooms, and one is going to be for the vendors, and one's going to be for the speakers, and we're pretty sure, I think the capacity for each one is like 400 per room or something. So to be on the safe side, we don't think everyone's going to be all piled into one room or the other. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but we're starting off with just selling about 400 tickets until we can confirm exactly which room, like how much each room can hold, because we're only going to be able to allow 400 people in each room. So, and it might be, like Ron Murphy might be one of the speakers that you want to hear, right? Let's, for example, so you go and you hear him, and then the next speaker is me, and you're like, I don't want to hear this guy. I've heard this guy ramble on for hours on his show. This guy doesn't go out in the woods and get covered in ticks and lice. Screw this guy, and you walk off. So you go into the vendor area, where I'll run in there and sit down and sell you a shirt. Right? That's it. So you don't have to be in the listening room the whole time. You can go to either one. So last year it was all in one big room. We had 438 people or 408 people.
It was quite a
Almost
crowd.
500 people all together with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the room was 500 people capacity, right?
Yeah.
And at the peak, I think it was 400. I think it was 483, wasn't it? Because we got close to the max.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because a lot of people bought tickets at the door. Now, Ken admitted to me that he stole money at the door last year by he told me that earlier today. He said, hey, you know, people were coming up and I was letting them, I was scanning their deal and I was keeping the money, and I was like, little weasel. So if he tries to do that this year in Fort Worth, please don't just say no, Mr. Gerhard. I will buy one of your books at a discounted price, but I will not give you my money for the door. I don't care how hard you worked. You take that up with Mr. Turner. Mr. T, you tell him, shut up, fool. Not doing it. So anyways, folks, thank you for listening. Thanks for coming in. We have to record the show for Black Eyed Person. We don't know what to call it, but it's going to be a good one. And it's a story that I had fleshed out and worked on with the witness who I think he's believable. I mean, he told us some pretty crazy stuff, and I think that he's, you know, it's going to be a good one. That'll be coming out on Tuesday. So be looking for that. So for everybody here at Paranormal Roundtable, thank you for our guest, Jenna Jenna Grover. Thank you for showing up from the She Squatchers. She was a great guest. We had a lot of fun like we always do. She has now given her blessing to call Tony Noodles, and Tony looks very crestfallen and about it.
I've gotten over it.
Doesn't look like it.
I've just been annoyed because as soon as she said it, I knew. I was like, oh, this is going to stick. I was like, this is it. This is my name for a little bit now. But I'm over it now.
Yeah. So happy Easter, everybody. He is risen. Everybody, you know, and then it's like, oh, well, Easter really is Ishtar, the goddess of, you know, chocolate and doo-doo and whatever. I don't care about, okay, to me, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, it's all about Christ and him rising, whatever. And if people don't like it, oh, well, you know, get over it. There's always people are going to have differences of opinions and differences of religion. We're all different. Not everybody's all the same. And just because you don't believe like I believe doesn't mean you have to, you know, I'm not going to be mad at you. Just, you know, just remember when you go to hell, why you're there. Okay? All right? Just remember that. And if you look over and I'm over there and I'm like, hey, I don't even know how I got here. I should not be here. There's been a mistake. I'm kidding, folks. I'm not making jokes about hell. Yes, I am. But I'm being honest. Think about it and think about the spirituality and your eternal soul, because that is something you should be doing. And not passing judgment on everybody else and what they believe or they don't believe, because none of us really know. I'll quote the guys from Expanded Perspectives. We were sitting there joking. We were talking. I think it was Cameron. Now, if I wasn't, it might have been Kyle. It was Cameron and Kyle. We were BSing back and forth after we recorded. When you leave here, go check out Expanded Perspectives. They're on a bunch of different platforms like we used to be, which I think we're going to go back to soon. And one of them is YouTube. I think you can just go to YouTube, Expanded Perspectives. I'm on there on the Friday show. And I believe it was Cameron, and I'm sorry, Kyle, if it was you, then, you know, but they said, you're going to do this. I've been doing it for 4 years. They've been doing it for 10. He goes, and you're really never going to get to the bottom of it. You're not going to find all the answers. It's just like trying to put smoke in a bag. You just can't do it. And so, you know, one of the guys told me that, and I'm just like, yeah, you're right. I've been doing this for 4 years, and I feel like I'm not any closer to, you know, whatever. I feel better about where I'm at, you know, than I was 4 years ago. And when we first came into the league, here I go again. When we first came into this community, we had problems with people. I mean, they bullied us and they messed with us. And by golly, we're still here. People tried to push us out. You know, I got attacked by the individual that I had said something about earlier. On the day my mom died, her birthday's coming up on April 13th. And I always get kind of emotional this time of year. And she died on May 16th, you know, 2021. You know, and it's time to go, forgive, forget, let things go. You know, there's been a lot of people who've said and done a lot of mean things to me, my wife, these guys here at the table with me. And, you know, what better time to just heal and move on than Easter? just let it go. I don't care anymore. We're here. We've made it. We've arrived. We're players at the table. And like I've said before, it may cause you to gnash your teeth because there's people who watch every show. They watch every move we make. And they just hate us so bad. And then they'll sit there and quote me too. You said this, and you said that, blah, 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 Josh Turner, blah, blah, blah. And I'm tickled pink because you're listening and you're watching and you're giving us views. If you hate me that bad, don't watch me. Okay? Like, don't give me views. Go away. There is this thing called the block button. It works perfectly well. You can block me out of your life, and and then they're like, "No, I want to do that. I want to be able to hear everything you said because I hate you."
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's also called obsession. Look into it. And they're like, I know exactly what it is. It's not me. But here's the thing. Your hatred and all that is not being returned by me because I don't care. I don't even care anymore. These people talk all this trash, and they're in these groups talking trash, misquoting me. One guy wrote a book. It's on Amazon. Guy's name is Jim. I'm even going to give you his last name. Go look it up. Jim, he wrote about Dogman. He quotes me in that book in an entire chapter. And he's incorrect. It's not even right. Okay? Should I give him his name so they can go read it? And it's funny because and then he talks about the different episodes, and he doesn't even get the episode numbers right or what I said, when I said on different people's shows, whatever. I'm flattered that he gave me an entire chapter, but then you have people on there like, I hate Josh Turner. Oh, well, this guy, blah, blah. I could care less, dude. And the bottom line is, it's some people are going to gnash their teeth and others are going to jump for joy. But it is a fact that I am here, and I am here every Friday live, and then I'm on Tuesday, I'm dropping a podcast, and we're going to be here. And my books are going to be written, and they're going to come out, and you can throw it in the trash, or you can not read it. You can go on a campaign and try to convince others to not read it. I don't give a crap. But the bottom line is, I'm here to stay. Okay? And then people, one guy messages me. He goes, "This is all he said. It's very funny. He's very, very straight to the point. He goes, I hope you die."
Oh.
And I said, Sir, what would it accomplish if I died? He goes, "Then you would go away." I said, I would not go away because I have a show that all you guys have to do is just put on repeat and people can watch the episodes in perpetuity. So it's like, that's not going to make me go away. You won't get new shows with Josh Turner, but you can get reruns. The other day I watched a rerun of I Dream of Jeannie and what's his name? Gomer Pyle. Still on TV. From the 60s. It's still there. So as long as there's television, there's going to be people. It's going to be there. It's going to be there forever. Mm-hmm. Mr. T, the A-Team is going to be there, right? So I told this guy, I said, and then he, I guess he paused and he thought about it, and then he blocked me because he didn't even respond. He probably just got so mad. He just went back down into his basement and continued torturing whatever, victim he had down there, I don't know. Anyway, he just seemed like a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs Looney Tune guy. He was off his rocker and his meds and angry. And he go, let me take out some time here from being Buffalo Bill. I hate you. I hope you die. I had another guy tell me if he ever saw me, he was going to punch my lights out, beat me down, kill me. And I laughed right off the toilet. Yes, I read it on the toilet. And I was like, it just made me laugh so hard. I'm like, dude, if you met me in person and you tried to punch me, watch what happens. Okay? I would be like, stop, please. I'd roll around the ground as he kicks me, soil myself. I'm so just shaking. I'm scared. Nellie, help me! I'm screaming at my wife. Call the authorities or whatever constabulary organization, wherever county we're in. This person's hitting me. It's never happened before.
Use your special move. Cower.
Roll into a ball. You hate me that bad, don't watch. Don't listen. But you're missing out. Because we're having a big party every week, and y'all are just mad. You're like over there. You're like Sasquatch looking in the window. Wish I had some of that roast beef. You could, but you need to shave first and take a shower. And I guess you don't want to do that, so you don't want to join the party. Sorry. Anyways, folks, if you got your stories, you got whatever, hit me up, let me know, and it will be told on the show if it's show worthy, or you can tell the story yourself, whatever. We have another guest on next week, talking some cool stuff, and then the week after that, and the week after that, we got them all lined up, and we just keep doing it. And this Charlie Sierra says, "I pity those fools. I pity the fool who don't tune in to PRT." All right, folks. We're gonna let you go. We're gonna let you run. I got to get started and get it cracking, so we got it going for Tuesday. All right. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye, everybody.